Hello, and welcome to Read and React, presented by Fable Table. I am your host, as ever, ApolloNik, or Nick Bowen, and joining me is the lovely Shannon.
Hello.
How are you?
I am doing terrific. I signed out of work a little bit earlier today than I have the last couple weeks. It's
Woo.
been a little stressful, so I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sorry we missed our session last week, but that day off was very much appreciated.
I also needed that day off. I actually also
Yeah.
had Dungeons and Dragons scheduled the next day and canceled
Oh
that because
wow.
I was just having a rough week. So
Oh
no
yeah. Yeah.
problem. But
Good.
today, we are continuing our Read and React series of Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. We are on book 4 in the whole second half. So spoiler warnings for everything up through the end of book 4. Last time at the very end, after we had talked kind of about all of what they were doing on this new floor, the 5th floor, with all the quadrants and everything, and coming across Maggie / Chris, and then finally defeating their quadrant. We then get pulled onto a show, an interview, an infomercial with the toy company that had been sending them indestructible donut merchandise.
I've been calling her Janky Donut because she said some fucked up shit. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then they used that. Well, Carl used that to murder Loita after he started egging on one of the hosts of the infomercial. She got up and the Janky Donut, got up to follow, but blew up because it had been,
the head fell off.
Yeah, that's something. And so
one of the best scenes.
They rush out there.
Not the whole book, but
yeah,
pretty close.
And Lloyd is just like, I knew it was you. And he's like, what do you mean? You're the one that insisted that it have the detonator inside if it ever broke so that we couldn't access the parts.
Standing over her, like dying, smiling at her manically, and she's just fried to a crisp. It like, it was like nothing was more. It was so incredibly satisfying to me. In my mind, I liken it to like if Harry had like Avada Kedavra at Umbridge. Do you know what I mean? Like that would have brought me peace. That would have brought me peace. But no, that bitch went back to the ministry. I'm just saying she should have died. Loita died. It like healed something in me.
It did.
You know what I mean?
It felt really good because it was like, things were coming to like becoming more and more tense with a lot of like the restrictions. She'd been egging them on. She, revealed her Nazi philosophy.
Yes, that they were dry and that they were a rot upon the bloom.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck that bitch.
And so it felt like Carl's been like quietly talking about getting, or not in the cookbook, talking about like, I will break them. And this is the first like action where he is like, not just hurting their pocketbook, but hurting them directly.
Yeah,
the showrunners, the sponsors. Yeah. And so with all of that going on, we start with chapter 19, where they are, Loita has died. They wait the few moments that it took for, drones to appear and fix the ship that they're in so that the shields can come down, not crushing them, and then reinstate the portal to let them leave and go back into the dungeon. So they're teleported from the trailer, and they are teleported to the Desperado Club. What a weird place to be taken. And they are sitting face to face with a robed figure named Oren, who's a syndicate liaison. We learn a little bit about what liaisons are. They're kind of like a third-party independent investigator, but also kind of like they can make recommendations for action to the showrunners and the AI. And so this is one of a number of liaisons. We don't know how many. But he is just like this creepy dude. We can't quite see his face. He's like, bouncing a ball and like steepling his fingers. He feels very Moriarty-esque because he's very like in control and thinking and calculating. Bit, yeah. And he's also kind of like what's the word? He's kind of like, he's almost like a teacher. Like he's constantly like asking them like, well, what do you think this means? Like asking them questions and like letting them explain what he's thinking and why. It's very weird. No one in the books
likens him to a vice principal.
Yeah.
And that's he is.
Socratic.
It's very like, it's like, he tries to like penetrate them with like a stare and silence, basically, knowing that they'll squirm under their own discomfort and hopefully like confess.
Yeah.
Carl and Donut aren't stupid. They're like, right. Fuck no.
Yeah, but it feels like he's so in control and confident because he's just like, I'm just gonna let you talk.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what you say. Anyway, so he presses them on what happened with Loita and is like trying to get them to admit their guilt. He tries using a carrot. He tries using a stick. Ultimately, in the chapter, he is unsuccessful at getting them to break. You will not break me. And is forced to let them go.
I
during
go ahead. I was gonna say, I think one of my favorite parts during this chapter is, okay, so like we learn about how during this chapter, what Carl actually did to make the janky donut's head fall off, right?
I think it was like actually like a battery panel.
It was a battery panel at the back of the head, and it was made of cheap plastic or a plastic like substance that is unknown to Earth or whatever. Yeah. And it like Oren goes through like what he suspects happened during the whole thing.
He does a Sherlock Holmes where he's like monologuing everything that happened.
Yes, exactly. And Carl's like, oh man, that would have been much better than what I actually did.
I know. We get the interior of Carl explaining like, well, I actually had thought of that, but that's not what I did. And in fact, I got lucky, which is very funny.
Went his way this time. And then Donut is like, and Donut obviously is like really uncomfortable in this situation, but she's kind of like cracking wise, like, and she's like, oh, Carl, I think he thinks that you're some sort of secret Asian man. And he's like, it's Agent.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
very funny.
It's like, there's like these moments of like levity and like cuteness, like in between like Carl being in some serious shit.
Yeah.
For the death of this admin. And then we also learned that there have been 15 deaths so far. So 15 admin deaths.
Yeah, I want to talk about kind of the structure and order of this chapter and how it kind of creates its tension, which is also mixed with the levity that Donut brings with her quips. But it like starts with this sinister figure in the Desperado Club, which is confusing. He begins to explain who he is, and we're kind of set up to feel the danger because Carl's like gets a chill down his spine and he's like, oh shit, this guy has a lot of authority and power. We are in danger. Like this could go horribly. And Oren is in such power and authority that he's like, yeah, I'm just going to tell you, even though you're not supposed to know about stuff in the dungeon, it doesn't matter. There's been 15 murders this season. There's been lots of murders of admins in previous crawls. And every single one of them, we have figured out the means of how it was done. We are always able to do that. We are always powerful. And then he like continues to explain like his role. And then he explains that this is when it starts to turn and feel like, oh, maybe Carl will be okay. He's like, every single time an admin murder has happened, we have been able to explain it. And we can explain how Loita was murdered. Like we know how she was killed with the device and we know how the device was triggered. but like how you managed to make this happen and engineer the situation, we do not know. That is the piece. And at that point, he's like, I'm gonna, if you tell us your source, we think you're working with, maybe Audette, not Agatha. We know you have a source.
Try to get him to sign a piece of paper to say, oh, I did it, I'm guilty. And Carl's like, I'm not signing shit.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll give you a legendary box that'll get you to the 9th floor. At which point, you can make your way, like make your deal and get out of the dungeon. Like he's basically like, I will, this would work on a lot of crawlers, but not Carl. And so he's like offering the carrot, and Donut gives her defense. Carl is too dumb for that plan, as you have explained it to us. And Carl maintains his defense, which is, you all provided a cheap toy. Don't give me tools. Or like you all provided the tool, and I didn't even use the tool, is basically his defense, but he kind of did. But ultimately, we learn that the disco ball, the hobgoblin disco ball that the toy nudged and knocked off the table in his workshop, that damaged, like the dust damaged the toy and started to erode that flap. That's what caused it. So actually, it was kind of a coincidence.
Yes. Which is basically like it's so funny because like in Donut's defense of Carl, which is really also a condemnation of him, she's like, his plans never go according to how he wants them to.
Right.
If he wanted to kill her, he would have just set a bomb or punched her in the face. Like he's too straightforward for this secret Asian man thing that you're accusing him of. And I just thought that was so funny because like he is a secret agent. Like he is doing the thing. He's doing the damn thing. So, like, it was just hilarious. And then the best part, though, is that Oren was like, it was by far the most flawless execution of an admin I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, impressed by it.
He's I can't tell if he's doing, like, the good cop thing where he's, like, being respectful of Carl.
I don't know.
I mean, given that this is our first interaction, it's hard to tell. Having read ahead, I do know how a bit more about how Oren feels about Carl. But he does say, if it were up to me, I would have you removed from the dungeon. He says like accelerated, which is code for like killed. Just like, if it were up to me, I would have you killed. But it's not up to me, he says. My role here is just to give a recommendation after investigating. I recommended one thing. But the AI and Borant want to let you go. Which is
such a good chapter.
And it was
a really
crazy.
Short chapter, but like
it was pretty short
in that time frame. And also like some of the words that are bandied about, like it went to litigation or it went to trial.
There was lots of like court motions and blah, blah, blah. And
we know that takes time.
Filings.
And Carl, it felt like they blinked and they'd only been in that room for as long as it took them to talk to Oren. To them, seconds had passed.
Yeah.
But in actuality, it had been 5 days. That they were in stasis while this all went on, while they were asleep. Basically.
That is a huge gut punch to learn that they have lost so much time in the dungeon. We have no idea what's going on with the other crawlers, with the storyline in their bubble. It is a huge shock on top of everything that has already just transpired. The last thing I'll say about it's really interesting that Borant wanted to let Carl go, given like how much of a thorn in their side he has been. But ultimately, I think what it has to do with is like they want his last sponsorship fee. Like
they're not done making money off of
They're
him.
not done milking that cow.
And Oren also says that he's like, it comes down to like some crawlers are worth more than the low level and like Loida. So it's like we have to weigh the greater good, right? You're still making money for Boren, so they're not going to accelerate you yet.
Yeah. Oren feels like a really important and interesting character at this point because it seems like his view is beyond and not interested in money.
Yes.
which is like a first, because it's like, okay, this is a new type of player on the board that we
Mm-hmm.
will have to navigate differently than we've been approaching all these sponsors and corporations and governments. So yeah,
Orin is like power and authority,
yeah,
not just the bottom line.
yeah.
So yeah,
He's really interesting.
I like his character. I don't like him, but like I like this introduction of him into the storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also, oh, we also learn, I think, at the end of this scene that his head is like basically a fishbowl that has a
Yeah.
Voltae worm in it. I think they're called gomids.
Yeah, something like that. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
and so he is a brain worm that is not possessing someone. Like he is in like a separate body, like a like a manufactured body or something. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it's very interesting. Especially given the relationships, we begin to speculate, like, are his interests aligned with the Voltae, who are against
Mm-hmm.
Corinth, and it makes your head spin. So they get out. They learn that Mordecai has also been gone for the 5 days, and Katya has had no idea what had happened and why they disappeared. But Zev, as their temporary PR agent, was able to like kind of inform Katya a little bit. So yeah, they connect with Katya and Mordecai. They learn that Katya has been like moving on and getting things done with
Hell yeah.
her squad. Like she's picked up the reins.
Katya,
Louis
Louis Faraz.
yeah, Louis and Faraz are like on their way with the up house.
Yeah.
And Chris and Maggie are still trapped underground. So we just get like a quick update on just like the major bullet points of what's been going on and where our people are okay at least. And
Yeah. Not just okay. They've been doing like
yeah,
really well for themselves. And
yeah,
it opens up this kind of moment for Carl, like whenever he gets back, right? Where he wasn't even aware that he was thinking it, but he was like disgusted with himself, like after he realized, oh my God, that's what I've been thinking.
yes,
He really thought like I'm indispensable. They'll never do this without me. And to come back and to discover
yeah,
that they did, he was like at the same time proud of them, happy
mm-hmm.
that like he wasn't like the linchpin holding everything together, and like horrified that he was like, I can't believe I thought that not only about myself, like what a fucking egotistical thing to think,
Yeah.
but
So
like
yeah.
yeah, just no, I thought that and it was like a nice kind of moment for Carl to check in with himself. But then we also get like a very small flash after that where where he's remembering a conversation that he had
Yes.
with his father, and it's in his father's voice, and his father's
He-
like, "You'll die in a gutter, just like your fucking mom,"
you need
and
me. You think you're gonna be fine.
yeah,
What will you do, you disrespectful little shit? You will break after just one day.
yeah,
And then you'll
and
die. That's what you'll do, just like your fucking bitch of a mother. So there's a lot loaded in here. It is like his dad's narcissism, which
yeah,
Carl is feeling like a narcissist, and we are seeing, the shadow being cast by his dad on
yes,
him. And his mantra of "you will not break me" is a direct response. Like, we feel like it's against the showrunners and the crawl, but I think he's had that mantra a long time. You will
oh yeah.
break after just one day. You will not break me.
He's got issues, and I think what's really great about this is that we get that fucking what a crazy memory for him to be reliving, and then
Yeah.
cuts it off, shoves it back down,
Yep. Just
like we've seen
cram
him
that,
do.
yeah, sardine can back
cram
down.
it cram it back in there. Nothing to see here, folks. Like just
Yeah.
but like oh man, it's all coming to a head. Like we get it's just it feels like each remembrance that we get is like more violent and horrible than the last. Like we
Yeah.
can tell it's like it's bubbling up.
It is. Matt Dinniman is literally drip feeding us. Like
Yeah.
he keeps adding like an additional line to a conversation that we've already seen, but it just adds more and more context.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. So yeah, we get all the updates on what Katya and Louis and Fyrus and all of them have been up to. Louis and Fyrus are like, we see them now. They are like 5 days later, completely different. Like they are doing work. They have killed some bosses. They have leveled up. They've sobered up.
Hell yeah.
They are shaping into effective crawlers, which does feed into Carl's, narcissism a bit. Like, I'm the one who gave these crawlers a chance and got them to shape up. I don't think we actually hear him say that or think that, but I was thinking it.
I think it's more. I think he's relieved that that they were able to do it on their own, and also I think he was just kind of like, God, what a shit thing for me to do. Like it's like, okay, anytime, like something personal, like anytime I do something that my mom would do, I hear it, and I hear it in my mother's voice, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm turning into my mother. What a fucking nightmare. What a nightmare, Like, so, and I understand that feeling from Carl, because it's like, even though like you can't help the thoughts that you have, but how you react to them, and how you respond to them, and the thought that you think next in response to that is what matters. It's like, oh, that's a terrible thing to think. Good.
It is.
He's reflecting a little bit on that. So anyway, that resonated with me. Like, not for, there's no abuse. Please, oh God, this is all going downhill. There's no abuse in my house, but my mom is just, I don't want to be like her. So this hit for me.
Yeah. This hit for me too. Like, as someone who understands living in a perpetual stress response. That mantra of "you will not break me." Carl has, we are learning here in this moment, Carl has had the perspective and mantra and probably been living in a fight response. Like, you will not break me, I will fight back, for most of it, like since he was 17. Or however old he was when he and his dad said this. Maybe it was younger, 15 maybe. I don't quite remember, but
yeah.
And now here we are years later, Carl still is feeling the same, urges, and it's part of the strength that he has, to be able to react to the situation he's in, because his body and mind have been in this mode, and he has, developed strengths resisting threats his entire life.
Yeah. And deflecting and burying it down.
Yes, when is that going to catch up to him is the question, really.
It's survival. You know, he's just surviving. He's not thriving. He's not living. He just does what he has to do to get through the day.
Exactly.
And now it feels very much, it feels like that a lot in the book too. But like, now how he has to get through the day is to fight and to kill things and build bombs. But like, he's not living.
Surviving.
Just surviving.
Yeah. So this is how we come into the kind of like next set of chapters. I grouped chapters 20 through 24 as like them dealing with the land quadrant. So they get picked up by Louis and Fyrus, who we catch up with. They pick them up in the floating house with the big balloon, the up house, which we learn is called the Twister. Named after, I think, his mom's car.
Mom's van. It was a convertible van.
Yeah. That apparently he drove into the dungeon and got an achievement for.
Yeah, that's actually how they've basically been surviving up till that point, was like they were the first to drive a car into the dungeon, and they got like really good gear, like right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And that was how they survived, but they weren't leveling up because they didn't really know how to use it properly. No. But that's okay. They're doing good now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
they pick them up in the Twister.
They pick them up in the Twister. They fly down to the beach where the land quadrant is, at the castle, the sand castle of the Mad Dune Mage. They meet Gwen, who they previously met on the last floor. and who has been messaging them updates from the land and sea quadrants throughout the book. And now we meet her in person. She is butting heads with Katya a lot, but is a clearly capable crawler. We learn she's a Native American character, and that's important because of the tattoos that she has. Donut remarks on how much she loves Gwen's tattoos. Carl's like calls that into question, like, you hate tattoos, and Donut's like, but these are cultural, Carl. Come on. So we already have exception to Donut's feelings about tattoos.
She's a very complex creature.
She is. I had a thought today about tattoos, and it struck me that I hadn't had this thought for a long time. So when like dogs and probably cats get spayed or neutered, they will put like a small little tattoo on their belly to like indicate. Yeah. Nova has like a little tiny, it's like just a little tiny line. And it just indicates like this dog is spayed or neutered. And I wonder, and I don't think it's ever been mentioned, but I wonder if Donut is spayed. And if
I don't think she is.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, was she spayed, and would she have a tattoo, and she associates it with disfigurement? And
no, she was never spayed. Okay, so here a couple reasons why I feel like this is definitely a fact in this is that one, we learned from a conversation that B was going to sell her.
Oh, that's to breed.
Breed.
That's right.
Also, like whenever she would go into heat, she would like yell at the window for Gravy Boat.
That's right. That's right.
The cat Ferdinand.
Ferdinand.
I love that his name is Gravy Boat. Anyway, so when she would go into heat, so like she was definitely being, she was going to be sold.
Right. That's a good point.
She was going to be bred.
That's a good point.
Okay. Donut knows this, and that's also part of the reason why. Yeah, she had some pretty big, strong feelings.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I had that thought on a walk with Nova like less than an hour ago, and was pondering that as the source because there's a scene where she remarks on tattoos being a disfigurement. Like she's like escalating her feelings, and she talks about disfigurement. And I went, oh, I wonder. So they get to the beach, they meet Gwen. Gwen is of the opinion that they have a way to drain the tomb quadrant, which is still a problem and filled with water, filled with monsters and traps and Quetzalcoatlus. And there's like a drain, but it is right behind the sandcastle, and it would like spraying that water out, destroy the sandcastle. And Katya wouldn't let Gwen do this, which is part of the reason why they're butting heads, because Katya knows that Carl wants to go in there, face the mage, get the winding box, and complete the Gate of the Feral Gods.
Yes.
They have a quest. So Katya has successfully kept Gwen from doing this, which is kind of crazy given that like Carl and Donut had been gone and there was no sign that they'd ever return. Anyway, through a complicated series of like steps, they managed to use the storm to strike lightning into these towers, which hit the castle and turn it into glass for like the 2-hour period of the storm. So they have 2 hours to get in, face the mage, and get out. I'm going to rush kind of quickly through these next few chapters just because there's not a lot of meat and potatoes in theme here, but there are some interesting moments.
I'm ready.
So they explore the glass castle. They walk past a statue in a fountain that Mongo like barely touches, and it falls over and shatters. And they're like, okay, we got to be careful in here. Weirdly, Carl takes the head of the statue. It's of some like god
it's like a
it's like a naiad.
Yeah
it looks, they're like, oh, she's in like a goddess pose. It's weird. The entire set of chapters feels like a extremely weird and contrived situation to get Carl to connect with a new character in a really weird way. I'm just going to say that up front. But what happens is they go into the basement after exploring up above. They find a Gunnar cave with Ghazi, the Mad Dune mage, who they spy on through the door with Donut's whole spell. They learn that he is from Larakos, which is the city at the center of the 9th floor. He was sent by the college there to find the gate of the feral gods so that the college can use it against Scolopendra. But he wants to use it to summon a feral god of lust in order to make a fictional character, not a real person, but a fictional character, fall in love with him.
Yep,
However, he has been duped, summoned a different feral god than the one he was trying to summon, who duped him and has made him marry the god's familiar, which is an ooze, not a slime. The AI is very specific, or Ghazi is very specific later. They are attacked by the ooze and manage to escape with Ghazi. And between his description and talking to him, they learn all of this. They knock him out. They get the winding box from him. There's a letter from the college to him that basically says, like, you summoned a lesser god named Samathi or Samathi.
No, Samaith.
So, it's Samaith. Oh, okay. Yeah. It would help if I did listen to the audiobooks for some of these names.
Samaith.
Who now controls Quetzalcoatlus. And they, in the letter, they order him to banish himself and the necropolis back to the nothing, because he's a fucking failure and he needs to clean up his mess. Laika, the god of lust. So Ghazi claims that Laika, the god of lust, has possessed or is in the fountain that they passed, but then he begins to explain that, oh yeah, it's a god that possessed a sex doll, which is what Mongo broke.
Right. The frozen crystalline sex doll, which the only thing that was left was the head, and of course Carl put it into his inventory. So it's so weird. He thinks it's Laika, but it is in fact Samaith. And this is like, we discover this from the letter, basically. So Carl does get the winding box.
Yes, he does. That's the most important piece, is he completes the quest.
Yeah, he completes the quest. He's got the box.
Henrik still has one of the watches. That's right.
Yes, Henrik has the watch. And then, so he's reading this in the letter that I guess like kind of came with the winding box or whatever. And basically like what it was that, you know, the people in Larakos were like, no, we've determined that this is a lesser deity named Samaith. It's not Laika, but I think that, I think Ghazi is still convinced that it is Laika.
Yes, he is. No,
she's real. So, but everybody's like, no, you're a fucking idiot. Like,
it's really funny because we're learning about this kind of weird, complicated, not really important, but Gunnarific situation that also has ties into like the major plot of the dungeon, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the college wanting this weapon against Scolopendra is really interesting. But we're learning an incomplete piece of information from like the AI's description of Ghazi. We're getting this Ghazi himself's, you know, unreliable account of what's going on. And then the letter, which actually also turns out to be wrong about a couple things, which is hilarious. But before that, the ooze attacks, so we have to deal with that.
Yes.
So they learn from Ghazi, like, the ooze has a core downstairs in my Gunnar cave. You have to burn it. And they basically like take a long time to kind of work out a plan. And there's a lot of narration of them like barely surviving with Katya there and managing to figure this all out. But it essentially what boils down to the same plan as with the goose boss, which is go above, hold down, solve the problem. But this time it involves Carl using his new sticky feet ability so that he doesn't touch the ooze, because The new element is the floor is lava. The ooze is lava. The ooze will kill you if you touch it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But they managed to do it. They burn it. They don't kill the boss, but they weaken it enough to secure the throne room. The quadrant is liberated, and because of the whole spell, the glass begins to collapse as they are trying to get out. And Carl and Donut become stuck, being like crushed by basically sand and like pieces of glass above them. They are suffocating and being crushed. Carl orders Gwen to drain the tomb because they have they don't need the castle anymore. So the castle gets blasted away. They take water breathing scrolls that they've been getting the whole floor. And it's a lot like the situation from the first book where, they've executed we have the, we have the nuclear option and just like hold out, and I have to protect Donut. This time, Carl isn't the one that gets blinded and knocked out. Basically, it is Donut, and that is for a very important reason. But he heals her through it. But
Donut a bath.
Yes, Donut takes a bath. We get into chapter 3, and we get a really cute flashback of a time that Carl tried to make pancakes, and Donut got up and knocked the shit off the counter and got really dirty, so he had to bathe her, or decided he had to bathe her.
She was covered in like eggs and flour and milk and like goop, basically. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh no, Bee's gonna lose her shit." So
it wound up with him in the ER getting stitches. And we get this account because Donut wakes up underwater and freaks out the exact same way, and we get like half a page of her freaking out, both like screaming in the water and in the chat, just in chat. And Carl's
about the scream.
Yeah.
Screaming in the chat. I forgot about that part, dude.
It's really funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Carl's trying a lot of different ways to calm her down, and he finally hits the nail on the head with "Mongo needs you," and she stops panicking.
Like focuses.
She focuses
for half a second.
Yeah. They are being stalked by monsters in the water that they can't quite see, but they manage to escape. They get to the surface. That was pretty that was pretty awesome. I said once it was clear we were safe from the sharks. Go fuck yourself, Carl. Donut said.
Carl.
Very funny.
That was so great. Oh, that was a really like pleasing passage.
It was.
That one.
Yeah.
That fucking made me laugh. And then of course, like once the water breathing scrolls turn off, they barf all of the water back up. And Donut, he says that the amount of water that comes out of Donut's body is like more than like what her body can physically hold. And it makes no sense. And like at one point she vomits up like a teeny tiny little fish.
It's almost like the scroll, I'm just theorizing here, but it's almost like the scroll creates like a pocket inventory that is inaccessible to the crawler, that stores the water in it and then puts it back into them once it runs out.
When the scroll runs out.
Yeah, dude, it's very weird.
Oh, hilarious. Anyway, that was a good one.
There's another funny bit, which is they get an achievement for being in the water for a long time, which calls them honorary mud skippers and gives them an "I'm wet" box.
I'm wet box, yeah. Exactly.
Donuts includes a belt of buoyancy, which is just a big fuck you to her because she's never going in water again.
No, and I think the funniest part was that he kind of pushes her away from him because she's got enormous claws and she's really strong and she's fucking him up underwater, and he pushes her away, and as soon as she's awake and he pushes away from her, she sinks like a fucking stone. She just starts sinking immediately because she can't paddle up because she's got little teeny tiny legs, Anyway, it made me laugh.
It's kind of scary because I think at this point her strength is still higher than Carl's, and she could really hurt him.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the same box, Carl gets a potion of bloodlust, which Mordecai explains causes the consumer to go in kind of like a blood red rage.
A berserker,
berserker, which is I think what Hecla did when they were in the train car and they were fighting off monsters, and she ended up cutting off Eva's arm. I think it's because she was using a berserker skill. They read a letter from Ghazi to someone named Tish at the college. Oh, Ghazi's dead, by the way. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
No, he died. They got what they needed from him.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. That explains a lot more about how the Gate of the Feral Gods works. Oh no, it's from Ghazi to Tish. So he's explaining how the gate works, and it talks about his plans to deal with Samathe. Samathe, is that it?
Samaith. Although
Samaith.
she's known by her friends as Samantha, if that makes it any better for you.
Yes. So it's like, here's how I'm going to use the gate to deal with the god I unleashed and Quetzalcoatlus. There is like, it shows how to use the watches to basically set coordinates, and then you set them in the box, the winding box, to activate the portal. There is like illustrations with all these different scenarios of what happens with the box and watches, and like the summoning when you have them on either side of the portal when it closes, which it also lasts like 22 minutes, which felt like a big callback to like Stargate, where, you know, a wormhole can stay open for so much time, blah blah blah. Anyway, it was very
interesting.
Matt
Dinniman, that's probably exactly where that came from. So, yeah.
And it also explains there is a way to open the portal and not summon a feral god, but it requires you to toss the winding box in the portal and sacrifice it. It also, the letter includes a map of the 9th floor, which is incredibly useful information for our crawlers. And then there is like a reference, like Carl looks at another illustration that the book does not describe. And Carl begins to freak out with how, like, he's shocked at something in this second to last illustration. And at this point, I'm thinking, is there a way for him to like portal the doomsday scenario through and fuck up something somewhere? Or summon a different monster, or do something with the feral god that's summoned. We don't know, and it's really interesting. Matt Dinniman likes to not clue the reader into specific details or specific information to provide a lot of shock and awe later, which is very exciting.
I like to call it, it feels like it's like he's pebbling. He's dropping. So it's like when penguins are courting someone, they'll drop like shiny little pebbles at their feet to like let them know, like, hey, I'm thinking of you. That's what Matt Dinniman is doing here with these like beautiful, wonderful details. Yeah. He's pebbling the reader, and he's like just dropping like little nuggets here and there.
It's really good.
And they all pay off at some point. And then maybe not in this book, they do pay off. So
yeah, he's always so like good about doing it in ways that feel natural, and it doesn't feel like he's expositioning unnecessarily. And it's always like serving the plot and or interesting, comes naturally, and he's just constantly doing it, so it never feels like, I don't know.
It doesn't feel heavy-handed. It doesn't feel contrived. It honestly, like,
and it's part of how everything in the books feel earned, is because he's constantly setting stuff up, and we don't know when it's going to come together and how it's going to come together.
I think what's great about you saying that is that he doesn't know how it's going to come together either, because he is a self-proclaimed pantser. Like, he flies. I think he has
ideas. Right? There's been moments as I've read some of the later books where it's obvious, like, he was going to do something with that and then changed his mind later. I'll bring up some of those moments as they come up. So they're all fixated on this like 9th floor map and, you know, ways to use the Gate of the Feral Gods, and Mordecai, and they're like asking Mordecai questions about the 9th floor. And Mordecai's like, what the hell are y'all doing? You need to focus on what's right in front of you and not worry about the future. And Mordecai has been consistently saying that, and will consistently say that throughout most of the series. He reminds them that Henrik still has the last watch, and he thinks he's on to something with the yam that they received. We then are in the safe room, and Carl receives a sudden warning that an item in his catalog or his inventory is no longer eligible to be held in inventory, and it will be forcibly removed in 5 seconds. This is a lovely callback to when Katya exploded.
Yeah, and he's like, do I have time to get out of the safe room? Holy shit, what's going to happen?
And the crystallized head of Ghazi's sex doll in the shape of Laika, again, a fictional character, falls out. Katya says, Carl, you dropped a head on the floor? Carl begins to wonder why it's not eligible anymore. And then the head starts grumbling at them.
Yeah. And you really should listen to the audio for Samantha. She is exceptional. She and her I can't even do her accent, but her tagline is "I will kill your mother." It's ridiculous, and she's so offensive, and it's incredible. Please listen to the audio.
It sounds like a Slavic accent. I've heard clips of it.
Something, yeah,
it's like Ukrainian or Russian or something.
She's like, oh yeah, the king was my boyfriend, but she thought I was talking about her boyfriend. Anyway,
So they meet this item who is possessed by a withering spirit of Samantha, a minor deity who was banished to the nothing by her father for hooking up with a king. It is a withering spirit because this is only half of the god's spirit. The rest is still in the nothing, which is weird to think about because they could meet another version of this character who may or may not recognize them and might feel differently about them, and might be separate from this character. Anyway, there's a whole lot of mechanics around when the withering spirit arrived, it needed to possess the nearest unoccupied naiad vessel, which happened to be a sex doll in the form of a fictional character that was loosely based on her, Samantha. So, it's just this, again, ridiculously contrived circumstance to meet this character who will be with us for a long time. She is in effect the Totoro or R2D2 of the series because she's a lot of comic relief and she's constantly on the covers and featured in promo materials and is kind of like that iconic, not the main character for this series. Anyway, through her, we learn a lot about gods and the nothing and the celestial ascendancy. They move her mouth so she can talk. She growls a lot and is constantly, as Shannon pointed out, telling people that she will kill their mother. But ultimately, even though she's snapping at them and biting them with, rubber teeth and can't do anything, and acts all tough, she asks them to help her get her body back, which is just kind of like a, yeah, sure, lady. And that's basically how they treat her, is yeah, we'll help you. And Mordecai suggests they hire her as a mercenary because she is a valuable source of knowledge to keep on their team. She is indestructible and has 1 hit point.
So I think they were going to get rid of her and they were going to throw her, basically just dump her.
Yeah.
But I can't remember how they came to this conclusion, but they said that if they were to throw her out because she is a withering spirit of a deity from the nothing,
a feral
god, it could summon another feral god by her very presence there. So they're like, well, we can't let her out of the safe room. What do we do? So Carl picks her up, closes her mouth because she can't move it on her own.
Yep.
And rolls her head into their training room and is like, there you go, done.
Yep. Into the storage closet with you.
Yes.
And then they kind of get focused a la Mordecai on what they should be taking care of, which is we need to get that 4th castle. We need to deal with the tomb. And we need to rescue as many people as we can. It turns out that the tomb is not draining because the submarine underwater is docked with the tomb and is pumping water in. So it's in a cycle. So it's not draining anything. So they need to get to the submarine, figure out how to turn off the pump. They come up with a plan. It takes a while and there's a lot of description, but the most important piece is that Donut is in charge of the depth charges. I do like the depth charges, she says. She calls them death charges because they're
I do like
explicit.
that.
It's so funny.
It's cute.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Katya is like drawing out a map of the 9th floor for them in anticipation of the faction wars in a couple floors. Mordecai continues to complain about this. But they do learn a lot about the shape of Lorakos, which is, there is a surface level, but it's like it goes underground because it's a dwarven city. It's like in the shape of a cone pointed down.
Yes. And it's also described almost as like looking like a flower, kind of.
Yeah.
Like it's got like the way that it's shaped, like the outer edges look like almost like a flower.
Yeah, they kind of like peel out, but then the inside is like a bunch of tiers of circles, basically.
Yes.
And we learned that the city is very important. Like the factions have been there since the 3rd floor was created. And they go to Lorakos for entertainment and also to hire mercenaries at the markets, as well as buy equipment from hunters who are on the 6th floor in the hunting grounds, waiting to kill crawlers, take their loot to go to the market and sell them to the factions who are at the markets on Lorakos.
Not just that, they can buy from the crawlers themselves.
Yes, that too.
With their like with the way that they're like the online quote unquote market is kind of set up, because like as they're encouraged to like offload some of their loot,
it's a quick way for crawlers to make money.
To make money, exactly. And then the factions buy up the crawlers' own discarded weapons and then kill them with it. So like Carl's like, that's fucked up and I fucking hate that.
Right, because the factions have like tens of thousands of NPCs that they get allotted to them to use, and they need to outfit them with weapons. So yeah, the markets are very important for getting loot and hiring mercenaries who are probably like stronger NPCs than each individual soldier. We also learn about like kind of the respawn mechanics for each floor. The 9th floor has respawn protections for the faction sponsors until the crawlers arrive. And then the protections are removed, except that if they die during faction wars, they're just removed from the dungeon and then they're just out of the game. On the 6th, on the 6th floor, there are no protections for the hunters, and it is dangerous and risky. And these are all actually extremely important details, even though, as Mordecai keeps telling us, it's not important right now. It's interesting to learn all of this information immediately after Carl is like jizzing his pants after looking at something related to the Gate of the Feral Gods, which also came with a map of this city. So we're left wondering.
Well, I mean, we know because like Carl does make mention of it. He's like, I already knew about the city of Lorakos from the cookbook. So he's already been reading about it. And the fact that they got a map for Lorakos, I think, we're starting to put 2 and 2 together. Like Carl's not saying anything out loud. He's not even thinking it, but he's got a plan. And but
he can't go there.
He's playing chess. No, exactly.
That's the problem. Is like he as a crawler is restricted from going to the floor. So what can he do besides like toss the doomsday scenario through, or a monster, or who knows?
Right, which is which is I think ultimately why they like whenever the game paused and it went through that little bitty trial or whatever, where it was like they wanted to take the gate away from him or prevent him from getting pieces of the gate, they determined what can he do anyway with it. They don't, he'll just wreak havoc on his own level.
Yeah, I think
he can't. That's why they decided to let him keep it.
Right. I mean, he can summon feral gods, which is nuts, but it's more of a risk to him because it's always summoned on the side of the exit, or the entrance. And he can't go through if he is trying to dial to another floor. So anyway, we just more what is up Matt Dinniman and Carl's shorts. What's up his boxers?
It's amazing, I'm sure.
The Snick says so. So we move into the next set of chapters, 25 through 27, which are all about them dealing with the water quadrant, which has already been liberated, but they have to deal with this submarine that is pumping water into the final quadrant, the tomb. So they also need to get to Henrik and get to the watch. And Henrik is in the tomb quadrant, we believe. And so we meet a couple new crawlers that Katya has been working with and that were in Gwen's party, I believe. Some Ukrainian survivors of the water quadrant that were with Maggie, Chris. Their names are Brittany and Vadim. Vadim is a scummy, famous plastic surgeon known for his botched jobs and impregnating his clients and patients. Brittany is one of his clients and patients. Which actually leads to an interesting conversation about pregnancy in the crawl.
I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah, pregnant women were not allowed to enter the crawl, and women cannot get pregnant. Well, people cannot get pregnant in the crawl.
Correct.
Which
Period
is something
stop, they're not able to conceive.
Right. Yeah. I can't remember. Did the women the crawlers who are capable of becoming pregnant, did they receive a notice when they entered, or did they just theorize about it?
No, they receive a notice. Katya goes, like, she's like, oh yeah, it was like one of the first things, like we got a notification, like, that you won't be able to conceive, your periods will stop. It was like a whole thing for them. And then Carl very dumbly says, I didn't get one of those.
Yeah, no shit, dumbass.
Like, right. And then he's like, I felt so stupid, like right after I said it, which I thought was kind of funny. It was like just like a moment of levity. Like, of course you fucking wouldn't. But like,
well, and Donut didn't get it because when she entered the crawl, she was incapable of recognizing. Well, I guess actually she might. Maybe because she was a pet, she didn't get the notice. Maybe that's why, because she's always been able to reflect back on her past experiences. But it didn't seem like, well, maybe she just didn't care about bringing it up. Anyway. Yeah,
that too could be.
It felt important and a little feminist of Matt Dinniman to acknowledge that his main character is a man and wasn't thinking about this shit.
And just said a dumb thing, and I really appreciate that. And then, but like, so one of the reasons why we learned that like pregnant crawlers are vanished basically upon entry into the dungeon is that like there's something about that in the cookbook. Also, one of the authors of the cookbook went in with his pregnant wife. She vanished, and he never saw her again.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
I have actually more to say about a lot of the cookbook authors, because in the last like 5 or 6 chapters of the book, we get a lot of entries at the header and throughout the chapters, which is really cool. So Vadim offers to take them down to the submarine and help them find the controls for the pump on the Akula, is what the submarine is called. So Vadim, Tran, Carl, and Katya head down inside of Katya, who takes the shape of a diving bell, which is very cool. Katya continues to impress, and her mastery over her
such a badass
class or race is just even becomes more and more apparent. So we also learn I think Carl reflects on the diving capacity of submarines, like 400 meters being the limit of most submarines, 500 being how deep they're going, but the system is like eliminating depth pressure, which is crazy.
They're already under the surface of the earth, like past the limit.
The space magic is removing all physics effects, basically, that would just cause stupid, death.
They would be compressed into mush. Yeah.
Well, humans can only go 40 meters, and they're going 500. As a fun fact, the Ocean Gate submersible went 4,000 meters deep. I looked that up. That was me continuing to learn. So they drop chum bombs, like basically grocery bags full of body parts from their corpse tabs of their inventory, basically to distract the sharks as they descend. They see some of the jellyfish that they'd heard about along the way, and they apparently are innocuous, but have an extremely painful touch.
So there are two types of jellyfish,
yes.
and I think it is worth noting that Carl did get a scroll to prevent to nullify a pain the
pain
like it was like to
amplifier.
nullify pain amplifier, something like that.
I
but he
think
has a scroll for that, and we learned that like way early on, but this is where we're seeing, oh no,
yeah,
he might have to use this.
Maybe. I don't think there's only one moment where the jellyfish become important in the book.
True.
And that's coming up pretty soon. But otherwise, I don't think Matt Dinniman did much with them. Now, he does reuse monsters and upgrades them between floors. What?
I'm gonna text you right now. Hang on.
Okay. So they move on past the jellyfish. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. I think, okay, we'll talk about this. We will definitely talk about this. Okay, so they head down, they enter the Akula. Katya like blends in, she shifts and just basically like camouflages against like the submarine. And as they're moving through and exploring and seeing all of the evidence of what Chris Maggie did and like the weird situation they had here in this castle submarine, Katya reports that she is seeing something really big outside, swimming around the submarine. And I don't quite understand exactly what happens, but separately, Quetzalcoatlus shows up, fights the big thing briefly before it flees back into the temple.
I don't think it's fighting it. I think it was like a game design kind of a thing. So okay, it's an octo shark, okay, and it's sleeping.
The big thing it's sleeping, and Quetzalcoatlus wakes it up. That's what's going on. Okay,
yeah, and I think it was like a game design, or like maybe they could have gotten in and out of the submarine and done all of that, but that's not exciting, is it? So like Quetzalcoatlus, like who is a ghost, basically goes through the wall of where the subterranean quadrant is, like slaps the octoshark on her ass to wake her up, raises her ire. Quetzalcoatlus fucks off, goes back into the subterranean quadrant, and the octoshark is like,
that makes sense to me. All right, I must have either missed a line or missed the connection here. And so this extremely massive sea creature, the octoshark, starts shaking the submarine around. Carl is freaking out, but he's looking at his map and he notices an X, which is the body of Henrik. Oh, when I saw Henrik on the watch, he wasn't in the tomb underwater. He was here underwater. His corpse is on the bridge. We cannot leave. We have to get that watch and then use an escape hatch. So they are incentivized to stay. Katya is ordered by Carl to leave. Donuts in the chat like, do not leave Carl. Do not abandon him. Katya does not leave. They are getting shaken around as they make their way through the submarine. Boss music is playing, but there is no like announcement and like freezing and like Carl versus. But it's really frantic and disorienting as they're like getting rolled around and knocked around. And Carl, with his new upgrade, notices that they are descending and going deeper and deeper underwater. And we're not sure like what's going on and why. It doesn't seem like it's trying to like it feels like, oh, it could just shake it and like kill them by just shaking it. Why isn't it doing that? It's a little confusing. They get to Henrik. They loot his corpse, which says killed by Quetzalcoatlus. So apparently the ghost came here and killed him. They get the last piece of the Gate of the Feral Gods. There's another weird system freeze here. And Carl receives an administrative notice. 3 items in your inventory have been placed under an administrative lock, while an appeal in the syndicate court determines if these items are... The message appeared and disappeared in a flash, almost too quickly to read or understand. It never finished fully displaying, and then another message appeared and disappeared just as quickly. Admin notice, court determination, lack of standing for all plaintiffs, administrative lock removed. We apologize for the inconvenience. there's some crazy shit happening, in a court system really fast. Imagine our court system was that fast. Incredible.
Amazing.
All right. So they have the item. That's all they came here for. They have the item. And also the pump is no longer attached to the tomb. Mission complete. We didn't do anything. We completed a mission we weren't planning on completing down here, and this monster did the other part for us. We need to escape.
Yeah, exactly. Like so what you didn't, I don't know if you said this, but like so what actually happened is that they're inside of the octoshark's mouth. And so what she did was she swallowed the submarine.
He swallowed.
No, she.
No, sorry. There is an octoshark that picked them up, moved them, and took them down to another octoshark the size of a mountain.
You are absolutely right. Yes, he picked them up, dropped them next to his lady love, hit it and quit it. And then she just ate, but she's got babies to feed.
Yeah.
She keeps her babies in her mouth.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
The
nasty.
description is so funny. The description is like, she's a slut. She doesn't know who her baby's daddies is. So all of them are competing and bringing her food to like win her over. It's so stupid.
It's so gross. Yeah,
it's
I love
disgusting.
it. So the other octoshark drops the submarine down to this big, like the size of a mountain octoshark.
Here is my peacocking offering to you of food.
Hit it and quit it. Like that shark fucked off. That octoshark fucked off. Sharktopus, whatever. She swallows the submarine.
Yes.
And then we get a notification that they are doing something different this time.
Yes.
They're gonna live broadcast this one thing and this one thing only. So like they've got
they are in a beta testing program.
Yeah, the Incredible Troy and Kevin, the announcers from the show, like whenever they're doing the recaps, are doing a play-by-play basically,
they're shoutcasting.
And they're laughing they're laughing their asses off, and they're like, "What's he gonna do?" And it's just ridiculous.
Yes.
So like they show a little cartoon of like what they expect will happen, and they talk about who the octoshark is, where they pulled her from. All the babies are going to come out.
The actual creature she's based on.
Yeah. And like they're all the babies will eat the crawlers, and then it shows like a skeleton being pooped out, like wearing heart-shaped boxers, and he's like, "Fucking guys!" Like, anyway,
they're being live shoutcasted, and they can see they have a PIP, a picture-in-picture in their UI. They can see the stream of the shoutcasters of them being attacked. And so this level 82 city boss, Luska, the Octoshark Broodmother Queen, allows her babies to feed for 10 minutes before she eats the rest. So this is all another stupid contrived situation that is a timed boss fight. And I think at least dozens, but probably hundreds of little sharks. And little, I mean the size of like Carl or bigger. Are punching the glass of the bridge, trying to get in, scraping, biting, trying to get in, and they have a timer appear. It's a fun, exciting fight. I'm gonna TLDR it. It's a frantic timed boss fight. Carl leaves a berserk potion in a mini fridge in the bridge as they retreat to the stateroom that they can lock and stay secured in. He detonates a little device that causes all of the baby sharktopuses to berserk and eat each other. Yes. And they swim out and eventually engage protective shell, like Carl fucking always does.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Katya is transforming into one of those little Subnautica drones you can grab and pull to, or motorized scooter your way.
They do Leatherface where she drops she drops the what is it called?
I think Oh yes.
And
So
it like starts
she
swinging.
forms around like a missile that Carl has made, which propels her. But then she also like puts the chainsaw on the front of her, and she basically like carves. She's planning on carving a way out the front with the protective shell, also like punching out the back. And it's like they have a whole plan. It doesn't go the way they want, but it works.
Yeah, it like splits her in half, like basically like the whole top half of her head like splits open,
I don't
and
think,
all of the babies are.
but the shell doesn't punch through her. It basically just like catches her and stops her and like wrenches her jaw back.
Yeah,
It's
yes,
fucking gross.
it is so gross. At this point, the
Yeah.
dean had fucked off because he left them in the lurch. He was in one of the little capsules, like the escape capsules.
Yeah. Yeah. He
He did
panicked and
not
ran
engage in the
away.
fight. He panicked and ran away. He's like, I have to go. The timer's already been set. Blah 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 blah. He hits the escape tube, like he hits like the launch button basically, and he goes out through the back of her head. I
It
think
works.
that
They thought
finally
the
kills
escape
her.
hatches wouldn't work
Yeah,
because they thought it would
I think
be
that's
she
what
would be too
finally
tough.
kills her. Yeah, exactly.
It actually does kill her. I think it punches through her brain. But then,
yeah,
and this is where the jellyfish come in. He goes right at them, and they manage to somehow hit him through the escape pod.
Inside the escape pod.
Yeah, and they fuck him up
and
and
he's
kill
like,
him.
oh god, the pain amplifiers. And then immediately it says, this
it's
is from a deceased crawler.
Yeah, it's sad for him, and he was interesting, but he was a red shirt.
He was a scumbag, and I'm glad he's dead.
My favorite part of the whole fight is how Kevin and Troy are remarking on how Donut refers to them as death charges. They are tickled by it while they're announcing, and constantly they're like narrating what Carl's doing as he's doing it, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up! Like, stop saying I'm in trouble. Like, I don't need you to tell me." But like, they're not. He's just annoyed that he can hear them laughing at him, basically. They are too underwater, like they're too deep. The system, like to compensate for not putting them under real physical like water pressure, is like deducting health while they're this deep, like every few seconds.
It's like 5% of your health goes like 5% of your health goes down every second.
Yeah, and so Carl,
they have a shitload of healing scrolls, so like
they're like, we have to use the gate of the feral gods to teleport out of here. And he like, even before the fight, I think was right as they were getting grabbed, it was like ordering people to get to their safe rooms because he's about to unleash a feral god in their bubble. And he does. New achievement. Who let the gods out? You have allowed a feral god to enter your current realm. That is the equivalent of dropping a grenade down your pants and shouting YOLO. Here's a fun fact. Other gods don't like feral gods. They've been thrown into the nothing for a reason. They tend to react to this sort of thing, depending on who you've brought out. Reward. Whatever is about to happen is going to hit the Dungeon Crawler World blooper reel for sure. And this chapter 27, and this whole section with the water quadrant end with the world rumbling as they portal out to, I think, Humptown.
They're back in Humptown. Yeah. Yep. And as they come out, like all of the water basically from like where they were underwater comes with them. And it's like, it like almost sweeps them away.
Yeah. And I think when they get through the portal, Carl's like, I can't afford to start vomiting until I get to the safe room. So he's like using the water breathing scrolls, even though he's on dry land, which just is it's a tickling little detail.
Right. He can't be incapacitated. Like, he has to get back to the safe room.
Matt Dinniman's like, well, I wrote this funny thing. I guess Carl has to like think his way through it. And the solution is keep taking the scrolls. You know, what's the solution to a hangover? Keep drinking.
Keep drinking. Absolutely.
Yeah. So then we get into the end game of this book. Chapters 28 through 34, the last 6-7 chapters are all about this dealing with this feral god that they've unleashed. So Generally, everyone is sheltering in safe rooms and in the bubble and kind of reorienting and figuring out what's going on and just kind of like resetting. Carl and Mordecai talk about a deal that they're making with Juicebox. We are not privy to the details, but they're having a conversation about it. Mordecai mentions that Juicebox is starting to kind of like break the fourth wall as an NPC. She is awakening. She agrees that she will do something for them if they send all the changelings somewhere, presumably with the Gate of the Feral Gods, because the changelings as NPCs are not restricted to staying on the current floor.
Right. They can go to the next level down.
We know that both Henrik and Juicebox are like leaders who very much care about their people. And so she is asking Carl to help protect them and get them out of here, because she's recognizing they will all die or go into stasis the moment this floor ends. So we just get like a little brief look into, you know, some cogs that are turning. Carl moves on to achievements and loot. I think this is where they get the Mud Skipper achievement, basically, for going so deep. Carl receives 7 achievements for fighting off 7 different lawsuits with the AI. Like, he and the AI were named as respondents in 7 lawsuits, and together they won. It's really funny because the description is like, normally I would just throw the crawler under the bus, but I didn't need to because we both won together. You and I have been named co-defendants in an action brought to the syndicate court by a third party, and we have been deemed, drumroll please, victorious. So it's called Fight the Power, and he gets 7 Fight the Power like reward boxes, summary judgment reward boxes. He gets
Tell them what's in it, Nick.
Really quickly, the other achievements. He gets a Janet Jackson's nipple achievement for being featured in a live special event. Hilarious. Soft Vor for being eaten and surviving. And
the dungeon likes that one.
And Flex
he does this dirty touching yourself voice.
Yeah. And then Flex in the City for killing a city boss with 5 or fewer crawlers.
Nice.
The loot, there's a lot of stuff they get. The big one, there's kind of 4 big ones. A potion of dinosaur repellent. This isn't important right now. This to me is a nail in the coffin that they will see mangas.
Yep.
Carl's been complaining about it for books, and the AI is listening.
He's like, oh man, I hope we don't ever, or no, not just that, but like that Mordecai was like, oh boy, you better hope you don't run into a pack of these, you know, out in the dungeon. And it's like, fuck, shut the fuck up, Mordecai.
Yeah. The 7 summary judgment boxes are terribly interesting. Each have 1 stock in a company each, worth basically nothing. And each also comes with a photo of a woman. The description indicates that these are the mothers of the plaintiffs in the actions brought to the syndicate court. Mordecai remarks that Carl should not be receiving anything of value, and because like there's rules against it, and the AI is probably doing this to needle at the plaintiffs.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and a bigger question too is like, how does the AI have access to these? He's like, are these real? And he's like, yeah, they're real. How does the AI have access to these stocks that Carl now has in his possession?
Yeah. I don't know if this is the first time, but Mordecai mentions that the AI seems to be going insane. And this is more than just like Carl reflecting on, is the AI like being a little weird and funky right now? We learn a little bit more about this. Carl's like, oh, now I know who tried to stop me from getting the Gate of the Feral Gods, because these are their mothers, like the description
these are the
of it
mothers
says.
Of all of the plaintiffs. Yeah.
So that's important to know who his enemies are. Louis calls one of the women in the photos a hottie, which feels like just an off comment. I will say it now. This sets off a chain reaction of events. It's
I
really
love
good.
Louis.
Um,
Oh, Louis. And he tells Juicebox, he's like, hey, Juicebox, can you turn into this woman?
oh my God, it's awful.
Ah, okay.
Mordecai remarks that the AI should be prohibiting speech against speech acting out against sponsors, but the AI is joining it. Like the AI is needling at sponsors, which it should not be doing because that is anti-profit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, and anti-marketing good business practice. Um, he says like this AI seems like it's breaking really early, which normally doesn't happen until the 12th floor. Here we go again. Another reason why this crawl seems to be different from every other crawl. There's a reason why the syndicate has strict rules about macro AI intelligences. Some believe that your people learned this the hard way. The primals, I mean, not the humans, because again, Carl is a primal. All large scale AIs eventually go insane. There's even a term for it, primal degeneration, going primal. Um, so this AI is going insane faster than normal. I think later we learn that normally the AI starts degenerating as a result of interference with its decisions. It like begins to act out against like courts and the showrunners countering its decisions, like it did on the third floor with the Carl's Doomsday Scenario and all the celestial boxes that it awarded, and
It's
those getting
it
vetoed on the
yes.
third floor. We were told that that was unusual for that one big veto to be used so early, and
Well,
that
but
might
not
have been a
just that.
trigger point.
We're hearing this over and over, though, in the books. Oh, this has
Yeah.
never happened this early. This has never
Yes.
happened this early. Not just in relation to like, maybe the AI getting a little spicy, but also, the having gods happen this early in a series,
Mm-hmm.
or having going to trial this early.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and we've been hearing this since literally, like what you said, like I think it was like book 2. This is the first time we've seen this happen in a crawl this early or whatever.
Right.
So like right from the very beginning,
Yeah, like
it's
even the
been
like I think when in the third or second book when they went on that show, and I think it might have been in the epilogue when she's like, "Do you know how many like the most celestial boxes that have ever been
yes,
awarded in a season? You have broken that already."
yes,
Yeah. So it's
love it.
insane. Um this one isn't important, but Carl gets a water breathing ring that grows gills and makes him slimy. And then the other two important items are a black bandana, which Carl recognizes is named after a cookbook author. It's like a bandana of Drachia or something, which allows him
Yeah,
to
it's the
cast
kerchief.
a very cool spell called Tripper. It triggers all traps in an area around the crawler. Uh,
Yeah.
Drachia was involved in the season that ruined the Naga. Uh, and Drachia, we suspect, is probably responsible for that. Drachia was a huge trap user, and died in the dungeon after pissing on their exit offer, according to Mordecai. He or she had a big plan that unnaturally backfired. It felt like cheating. The Naga got sued for cheating and lost even more money. Carl remarks that he feels that Drachia got the last laugh for bankrupting these
The
Naga.
Naga.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're still not financially recovered from that.
Yeah. I
Um,
think we learn it might be later, but I think it's okay to say now. They participate in the faction wars most years, and they're almost always the first people to lose,
yeah.
which feels like, yep, okay. They're just there for show.
Yeah,
Um,
basically.
and then the last item Carl gets is a jacket that he can sew patches onto with a
Oh,
sewing
yeah.
kit, and he gets his first patch for it.
Which is
Um,
an earth
an
patch.
earth patch, and Donut immediately jumps up and starts judging the patch. Interesting. It gives immunity to cloud-based attacks. That feels huge. That honestly, that feels huge. Cloud-based attacks is like, we've seen them become immune to like auditory based attacks from like the bunnies on the Iron Tangle floor, poison from his Night Gaunt cloak. Yeah. Keep building them up, Carl. So they've been kind of like recollecting themselves, and now we reach the point in the book where we're hitting our big finale. Shit is hitting the fan in a really big way. And stuff starts going off the rails, a lot like with the Iron Tangle, and Carl is again baited into helping people. But this time it's also exposing us to like gods and what happens around gods, and it's really scary. What happens in the next few chapters is also a reminder that the AI is not on Carl's side. And there are a lot of carrots that we see being put out there to incentivize crawler on crawler violence. The rest of the book is full of a lot of really tense moments, a lot of silly quips from the AI mostly, but also Donut and occasionally other characters, and some more Carl's trauma stuff. And I'm gonna try and get through it as fast as possible, just because this is the most dense part of the book in my mind.
Yes.
Both in terms of action and like what's going on with like some Carl themes.
I would say I think the epilogue is maybe even more dense.
The epilogue is huge.
It's enormous. So yeah, no, like let's rush through it. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. So a god appears and it has disastrous consequences. Elle reports that they broke out of their bubble finally. And there is a god named Emberus stomping through their bubble. Like there is a giant titan walking through their bubble, wrecking stuff. This god Emberus is looking for something and shouting for someone called Orthus.
Orthrus,
is it Orthrus with a second R? Oh, I thought it was Orthus. Oh, you're right. Okay. I've been writing it wrong. Orthrus. Bautista chimes in. He's like, yep, the god's coming here. I gotta go down my stairwell or I'm fucked. So Bautista's forced early. There is another group stuck in a safe room that is getting very, very, very hot. It is Ren, or they have a very long name that even I can't pronounce. Sorendel who is I don't know if I spent any time talking about this character. There was a chapter in the Iron Tangle book. This is a dog person with a flamethrower backpack, like Ghostbusters-esque backpack with a flamethrower that Donut got into some beef with for, quote, stealing Donut's XP when they were working together, holding out one of the the stations towards the end of the Iron Tangle. She is being like lava might be pouring over their safe room, and it's getting really hot. Apparently Emberus thinks that Ren is his dog Orthrus trapped inside the bubble. He is pounding on Ren's bubble, calling for Orthrus.
Also, Emberus the god is insane. He is from the Nothing, just FYI.
No, he is not from the Nothing.
No, he is.
He's from the Celestial Ascendancy.
No, Emberus is in the Nothing.
So
Emberus is a feral god.
My understanding is different. My understanding is that
Helic is from the Celestial Ascendancy.
So
Emberus and Helic are brothers. Emberus is the feral god who is insane, which is why he ripped his own eyes out.
No. So we learned that Emberus's son was murdered, and at the same time, his son's dog was sent to the Nothing. And when that feral dog was summoned, Emberus showed up looking for it. That's why Orthrus is in their bubble, because they just opened the portal there, and it caused Emberus to show up. Emberus is just crazy, not mad, not feral.
Okay.
Anyway, so there is a lot of shit going on. Carl feels like it's his fault. Donut reminds him that all of this was a setup to like fuck over Carl, and it was bound to happen anyway. They ask Samantha who Orthrus is, and that's when we learn that Embers's kid was murdered. His dog got sucked into the nothing.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Orthrus is trapped in their bubble, and we get to chapter 29, and we just see a massive puppy in the water under the dome, like a dog, like a puppy stuck in a small laundry basket. It is an enormous dog, like Godzilla-sized dog. Yes. It's a cute and innocent two-headed puppy. The description relates it to Cerberus. There's some really brother. Yeah, his kid brother who was taken away from the training that Cerberus received, and there's a lot of Greek mythology references about how Orthrus has been saved from doing some really horrible, awful things that Cerberus does, and it's very funny. But Orthrus is just level 10. I'm glad to see that even feral gods and anything else in the nothing, everybody likes dogs and didn't kill this dog. I'm happy about that. Embers is threatening lots of crawlers with his presence, basically, which is pissing Carl off. This is like Carl. We just get this ramp up of Carl getting baited into helping everyone right as a group quest appears for everyone in their bubble. Did you ever notice this strange phenomenon when it comes to Earth books about dogs? They always die in the end. Always.
Oh, so
what kind of sick, sadistic fuckers are you? Puppies shouldn't ever share a world of pain with pain. Yet here we are. Thanks, Earth culture. The AI calls out Earth. This is just Matt Dinniman making fun of dog tropes in books and culture. Basically, the quest is to reunite Orthrus with Embers.
I like the name of the quest too. I just want to call it out. It's called Where the Red God Glows instead of Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny.
So good. Anyway.
It's also why their achievement for using the Gate of the Feral Gods is called Who Let the Gods Out. It's a Who Let the Dogs Out reference.
I love it. So good. The puns.
So the quest goes on to state. So the storm is arriving in the bubble. Remember all that time ago when we were like, oh yeah, the suns chase each other, but eventually they'll catch each other. Also, those suns, those are Embers and his brother, Helic. So they were foreshadowed. Like Embers' arrival was foreshadowed. But once they catch each other, the sun event happens in our, the annual season of our bubble, and the storm will be perpetual. So the storm starts hitting the water, hurting Orthrus, who is standing in it, and also there are sharks nipping at his ankles. Yeah. The quest goes on. His death will be the fault of all of you, especially Crawler Carl, who callously shoved the poor puppy into a bubble much too small and much too dangerous for him. If Orthrus dies, the quest states, Embers will crank up the heat on your bubble as well. But if the puppy survives the lightning storm and escapes the sharks, odds are pretty good you'll die anyway, but at least you'll die knowing you shed this world without ever causing harm to a defenseless puppy. Oh, except Crawler Maggie Mai. She once ran over a baby Labrador with her Chevy Tahoe. What a bitch. Reward? It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Yeah, dude. What the
I love that there's just it's the AI making fun of Maggie, making her even more loathable, but also reminding us that she's here. She's present in the bubble, but she's also in the quest.
I'll tell you what's crazy. What I love about like the delivery of this too was that like the AI is fucking manic. It is excited it's delivering this quest. He's like, ooh, oh boy.
It's like rubbing its hands together, like, oh, what are we gonna see happen? We got gods so early. Here we go.
Dude, it's super pumped. It's like, oh my god, like, and that's how we know it's about to get batshit crazy.
Yeah, the AI is.
Carl sends Donut out to heal the dog while she of course comes up with she fucking hates dogs.
It's a dog.
She lets him know about it. Yeah.
So and he's like, you're the only one who can do it.
They have this like bubble wide quest, Donut, as she's running to heal the dog, is basically screaming at Maggie in the group chat.
Yes,
She's
because
like,
they have a quest group chat. Yes, and she's
yeah,
cursing her out.
Yeah, she's like, even if you did kill a dog, you're really mean.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, even if you did this one nice thing, which is the one thing that we're like, this is irredeemable,
we're like,
Maggie.
oh God, fucking demon. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
mean to,
like
derail,
killing other people
ahead.
to protect your daughter. I don't support it, but I understand it. Killing a dog, fuck you, Maggie. And Donut's like, the one good thing you've ever done with your life.
It was just a really funny. Anyway, yeah. So they go to try to heal the dog.
Yes, Carl's asking her to heal the dog. They can chuck potions at it, which is helping, but they really need Donut's spell. She's ripping into Maggie, and in between the hilarious feral quips, Donut has gone feral against Maggie.
Absolutely.
Is Chris calmly trying to like get a word in edgewise to like
Donut.
Like
Donut,
he's like
please.
he's like Donut, you have another task at hand. Donut, please. And he then just starts calmly reporting Maggie has escaped. She just killed some crawlers in the tomb. Maggie is cheating, by the way. She has outside help. And then he gets muted. And is confirming something that like some other clues had kind of started to build up, that she was getting support from someone or something else was going on. And he just gets like shut down, which is really sad. Ren reports meanwhile that their doorknobs are melting. We have another time pressure situation. She has like 160 crawlers in her bubble, I think. And it's nice that it's not just like Carl saying like, I'm getting reports of all these like crawlers their bubbles are burning, but it's like they're putting a face to it and it's personalizing the impact for us. But it's also not like threatening like a Meadowlark character in another bubble that Matt Dinniman can't afford to threaten right now because he's got plans for them. And then, so the storm is picking up, and they're like in their chats dealing with this while they're trying to wrangle Donut to heal the dog. And with the storm picking up, monsters start attacking them on the beach, I think is where they are at this point. Katya and Gwen start handling it, and maybe Tran and some others, while Carl is like deep in his chats delegating and coordinating with a lot of teams about what needs to happen and like just informing people of what's going on. He's like, we need to strike lightning into the water to kill to go through the tomb quadrant, kill Quetzalcoatlus, secure the throne room, and open the bubble so we can get this dog out of here and safe and out of the danger of the sharks and the storm.
Meanwhile, if they electrocute it, they're also going to zap the dog, who is only a level 10. So like, but which is why Donut is so important, because she has to be there to heal the dog as it's getting zapped. Right. It's like it's so intense.
Yeah, it's really intense. It's like a lot of pieces and it's a lot of danger. And, you know, the threat being a puppy's life raises the stakes for me, at least.
For me. Oh yeah. For everyone.
It's an adorable puppy. Something I thought about, every creature in the dungeon, every NPC is biologically made. So they had to make creatures, or maybe the system is like somehow enlarging them to make them godlike. But like, it's either that the space magic is making the dog and the gods extremely large, or they were made to be that size. It's unclear.
I don't know.
But it's an interesting thought. So Carl is like delegating tasks to the tomb team, who this entire book have been resistant to doing anything because the traps in there are so fucking dangerous. But the water has apparently killed most of the monsters in their quadrant. It's just the traps they have to deal with. So he gets the tomb team to get going. They need to connect some stuff to let the current pass through the tomb. So they start to figure it out. One of them is on distraction duty while the other is making their way to a panel room. And they get this kind of sad, frantic scene with the tomb team as they're doing their job. They're like, they are panicking and Carl's panicking, but they're succeeding and they are paying for it with their lives while Donut is frantically healing Orthrus. It's a lot going on. I'm going to read it. The dot of Quetzalcoatlus was moving toward the room with the connector, but it suddenly veered away. Morris, Bobby is gone. Oh God, I think he was crushed. Carl, stay on mission. Morris, almost there. Lothi, it's chasing me. I have it distracted. Do it. Warning, this message is from a deceased crawler. The boss, which could move through walls, barely paused as it apparently ripped through the crawler. It rocketed back towards Morris's position. Oh God, I sent them to their doom. Morris, it's connected. I did it. Going back up. Warning, this message is from a deceased crawler.
Yeah.
And like, I think it hits harder reading it because you can read through it faster. At least I could. Yeah. And so it just felt like this like 1-2 punch really fast is like I could feel like them like yelling like I've done it, and then they're just dead. It
happens so fast, and Carl is really stuck. Like he has he has this moment where he's like, I sent them to their fucking deaths.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he has this moment of like panic where he's like starting to sink kind of like in his own feelings, and then again pushes it down. He's like, I've got a job to do. I can't think about this right now. And he fucking
he
adds it to the pile.
He remarks on like he's like, I don't know how many people were in the tomb quadrant, but every single one of them has died. Every single one.
All gone.
And this is when I think I mentioned it last time, but he's like, this was the worst hands anyone on this floor got dealt. And then he's like, what gave me the right to send them to their deaths? But like, then he's also like, it had to get done.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he's moving on to the next thing. And then like immediately after it's connected, I'm talking seconds, lightning strikes. Yep. They're on the wet beach fighting these creatures. Everyone is electrocuted and they're like frozen in place. They're like stuck like statues. Yep. It electrocutes the dogs, it electrocutes all of the crawlers, and it electrocutes the mobs.
Yep.
It gets all of them.
Yeah.
Everybody's health is like gone. Thankfully, none of the crawlers die from it. But like, you know, they're stuck there until they're just done being zapped. Quetzalcoatlus dies because you can only kill a ghost through electrocution.
Yeah.
That quadrant is released. They get the notification that bubble has been popped.
Yes.
Followed immediately by the AI joking like, "Oh, dead." Just another fucking sucker punch. And then from there, like the dog, like their bubble's been popped, and they're like, "Oh my God, we got to get this dog out of here."
Yes. So
it's just one after the other.
Yeah. There's also this like really interesting moment so after they get electrocuted, I think Gwen and Katya clean up the monsters on the beach as the Twister arrives to pick them up.
Yep.
And Carl realizes he contributed basically nothing to the beach fight because he was so busy delegating and handling stuff elsewhere. Which is just interesting. Like it's demonstrating like he is able to coordinate and communicate well, even though he's kind of a like emotionally suppressed man with some lacking communication skills. He's at least like a good coordinator and delegator. And also, you know, Katya is capable.
Katya's a badass. Gwen is a badass.
They're both badasses.
Like,
badass
he's just
women.
Surrounded by like these incredibly powerful women who are like fucking killing it, dude.
Yeah.
So like so he also gets the bright idea of like whenever like the airplanes that when they were freeing their quadrant, they have an airplane like in the garage of the house, the Twister.
It's like they have their own like aircraft carrier that's an aircraft carrier, a flying aircraft carrier.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Battlestar Galactica, baby.
And he's like, you got an idea. And so calls Donut back. Donut still has the spell of
meat hooks.
Meat hooks. She's got the meat hook
the spell that lured Mongo into the alleyway on the 3rd floor.
Yes. So he's like, all right, we gotta go. And he's like, I don't know how to fly a plane, but
Yeah.
I'll figure it the fuck out. He starts the plane, they go flying. Donut, while like they're up above, they do like a little loop de loop or whatever. They go out of the bubble, and he sees all of the other surrounding bubbles and the ones that have been
Yeah.
popped and the ones that haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And he wonders, like, if they're still alive in there. He's having all these thoughts. So they circle back around. Donut sets off meat hooks, and the dog immediately is like,
Huh?
huh?
It's tense because Carl is struggling to fly the plane, and Donut is freaking out about the plane flying being awful and how much she hates the dog. It's
And
very
how
funny.
bad the meat hook smell,
Yeah,
the
it's funny,
smells.
but it's
It
also like
stinks.
the persistent tension of like we know what the stakes
Yes.
are, even though it's
Yeah.
just so comical. Uh, I love that
So,
they lifted the twister up and basically just like drove the plane off the drop bear off the edge, and it like they
yes.
barely managed to get it to pull up at the last second.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Oh, it's so
Um,
intense. But yeah,
yeah, so
so
they
now they gotta
get
try and
Orthrus
get
out. He like plops
Orpheus to
out.
Empress.
And yeah, they get a new quest to bring Orthrus to Empress. And Donut, with her new like heat vision glasses, can tell where Empress is, even though she can't see him, because she's just like, it's hot in that direction. It's really hot in that direction.
He's
And this is like a
glowing.
sun god. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the AI adds Ren's group to the quest, because like the new quest, because her party is under threat. It's just like basically a form of compensation, is like, if you can survive, this is your compensation. Um, and the AI is like still getting really excited and is like, oh, this is going to
Yeah.
be an exciting party. And he's like, oh yeah, you gotta get Orthrus to Empress. We're gonna throw a party. Isn't that going to be spicy? Wait, that's not that exciting. Let me give this a think. Hang on. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then the AI just like is done with the description. Um, we get lots of description of like Carl like luring the dog who can't actually see the plane but is just following the smell. It's getting distracted by nearby bubbles, but they're making progress. He tries to guide Orthrus. Like he takes a path, like not the most direct path, but through unopened bubbles to reduce the distractions.
Hmm.
And then the stakes raise as every single crawler on the entire floor receives a quest to kill Orthrus,
Kill Orthrus.
including people that are already on the Save Orthrus quest. Now that's a party, the AI says.
That motherfucker. It's so fucking horrible.
The
Like,
AI offers 1,000,000 gold, 5 level up potions, and a pet monkey.
dude. And then like Carl is like he's panicking and he starts he's like tell them not to come here, and
Yeah.
Katya's like, we're already on it, Ellie's already on it.
Yeah,
And
they're
Ellie's
like
I'll
threatening crawlers that they
I'll
know in
kill
their
every
chat.
fucking one of you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We see crawlers coming out of bubbles and like making their way along the like interstitial space or whatever it's called. I forget what the name it is. But like Orthrus gets attacked a few times, but Donut's keeping him topped off. And they're just moving, like Orthrus and the plane are moving faster than most of the crawlers. So it's like almost a non-issue, but it's like, what the fuck, people? Come on. But also they might not know that Carl's on this, like has this quest. They only know what quest they've received. And they might not know the stakes, but the AI is just super excited to like hit crawlers against one another during some god level shit. Because the AI wants to see Carl fail and for Empress to get pissed off and start going, nuclear on all these crawlers.
I don't know. I don't think it wants to see Carl fail. I really don't. I think that the AI loves Carl. I like I don't know how to describe it. I think it's
I have an insight into the AI, and this is based on more of what I've seen from the future books. So I'm gonna asterisk that. It feels like the AI. So I did describe Oren as kind of like being like a Sherlock Holmes in his narration of like, here is what I think happened. Ironically, I think that the AI is God, what is Sherlock's nemesis? Moriarty. Yeah. I think that the AI sees how clever and creative Carl is with his solutions and is like, I'm going to concoct a deadly game that I believe he can pass. If he loses, amazing. If he wins, even more amazing.
Because I get to keep playing this game with him.
I think I think the AI is just a sadistic, fucking manipulative game lover.
Absolutely. But it was
that's what it was created to be, basically.
That's what it was created to be, exactly. But like, I think that's a really
But it's clearly deriving pleasure from putting Carl in these impossible solutions that he can conceivably get out of. Yeah.
I do think that there is some level of feeling for Carl. Not like as an AI. I do think that I think the AI will cheat to keep Carl alive, to keep the game going.
It's funny you say that, because going back to Loita's murder, the explosion was enhanced by the AI, according to Oren, because it sat at his sapper's table. So that the system determined that it was a weapon, like, and also because it was like, because of the precautions they were taking, it was closer to the bottom of the ocean floor, closer to the crawl zone. And so the AI could enhance the explosion because it was close enough to the crawl. So maybe the AI fudged the number. Maybe the AI just was like, yeah, close enough. It's a device. Explode it. Yeah.
We also see that happen on the third level with
the Doomsday scenario.
Yeah,
and that's true.
The waves of power that were rolling out, and it should have detonated, but it didn't.
That's true.
So it will intervene when it sees fit. It wants. I don't think it wants to see Carl fail. I do think that how you described it is perfect. It is the Moriarty to Carl's Sherlock, you know, so to speak. Like, it wants to
it's like, let me escalate and see what Carl can do. I believe in him, but I want him to sweat real bad.
Yeah. Yes. It's an antagonistic relationship, to be sure, but it is a relationship.
So the system has incentivized crawler on crawler violence. Who do we know that is very willing to engage in some crawler on crawler violence?
Quan motherfucking CH. That
Quanch.
Son of a bitch. Quanch motherfucker.
Quanch comes flying in.
Son of a bitch.
And so we start chapter 31. We are finally getting a Quanch encounter. We've seen Carl react to some of Quan's shenanigans with the cloak that he received from his celestial box, and how he was using it on the Iron Tangle to fuck other crawlers over to farm XP. And we were wondering when it would happen. Here it is. Through a mutual intermediary, because of course they have not fist bumped and connected in their chat, but through someone that they both know, Quan tells Carl through this crawler that he doesn't care about the quest. He's going to kill Orthrus, and might even, it'd be great to also kill Donut. Donut unloads magic missiles into him, but his robe protects him.
He's got a shell, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So she unloads. I don't even know if she depletes her mana, but eventually, like, they're kind of in this dogfight. Carl tells Donut to take the wheel, which is awful because as he's been flying, his skill level's been going up in biplane flying, and so he's eventually leveled it out and is smooth sailing. And then Donut takes over, and it's immediately becomes bumpy just because the skill level's not there. But Carl gets out on the wing and flings one of the hobgoblin disco balls at Quanch to blind him, because it's clear that they're not going to get through his defenses very well. And at least we can blind and disorient him, and maybe we'll, get the upper hand here. So they blind him with the disco ball. They followed up with more magic missiles, and Carl flings a full Hobblobber. We've talked about like Matt Dinniman's very like specific through Carl about like, oh, I threw a quarter strength Hobblobber, an 18th strength or 16th strength Hobblobber, and like we've gotten kind of measures of what they are. A full Hobblobber is an enormous explosion, and he flings it right at Quan, who gets overwhelmed and retreats.
Part of it also is that he's got like some kind of cloaking thing, like where you can't really see him, but that's where Donut's heat vision, her glasses came in, so she was able to see him. So he lobbed
I assumed it was just difficult to see him because he's flying around so fast and it's so dark. That's what I thought it was.
Well, I thought it was that he had like I think it was like that he was like cloaked or something. You couldn't see him like approach. He was like sneaking up or whatever. Well, maybe you're right though. But like it's like a disco. I think he hits him with the disco ball also.
Yeah.
Like the disco Hobblobber.
Yeah. So the disco ball like paints the target, makes it like so he's blinded because it's like stuck to him, and there's smoke and glitter flying off of him, and he just like can't see very well. So like his attacks are, he can't target very well. So he falls back, and this is in line with Quanch's like fighting, like guerrilla tactics that he had during the Iron Tangle. He would fly in, electrocute a train, fly away before he engaged with crawlers that were pissed off. I think there was an interaction with Prepotente and Miriam Dom where he fucked up one of their like debuff kills on a huge boss. He like electrocuted it, realized that he wasn't gonna be able to kill it, and quickly and easily and ran away. So
everybody hates this fucking dude.
Everybody hates this guy. We in the chats learned that more groups more groups attack Orthrus and fail. I think at one point there's one even with their own dirigible, like a floating hot air balloon or airship or something, which is funny. Like we're not the only ones with an airship, I guess. And then they get close enough to Embrys to get like a full description of him. He is a twin sun god with a dysfunctional family. He wants to kill his twin brother Helic, who he thinks killed his son. He also wants to kill his older brother, which it doesn't get as much into. He plucked his own eyes out in grief. But the character we can see on the cover, this is Embrys. He has no eyes, but smoke is coming out of them. He plucked his own eyes out in grief. Hence his blind fixation on Ren. He can't see Ren, but he can apparently sense that there's a dog nearby. Yeah, he's like, dog, that's my dog right there. So we learned more about Embrys. We get to see his weird side mouth and single horn. And then Quanch returns for another run at them. Quanch nearly kills Orthrus, but they throw Mordecai's special brew, the like 30 seconds of crazy amounts of healing to get through all of Quanch's lightning spell. They start losing control of their plane. I don't remember exactly why, but they start losing control as Quanch moves in to kill them and Orthrus. Carl, as they are diving out of their plane because they think Quanch will blow it up, pulls one of his nuclear options, and he decides that he is going to worship Embrys.
Yep.
And at the same time as he decides to worship Embrys, pulls the celestial grenade that Maggie was about to throw at him when she made her move.
Summons him right to where Orthrus is.
Yeah, so these celestial grenades will summon a magic, like a random god to your location that it's thrown. But if you're worshiping a god, it summons the god you worship. So he throws it in order to, like, he justifies, like, this is to save myself and everyone in these two bubbles, because otherwise we will fail this quest and Embrys will kill all of those people.
Everybody, yeah.
So he summons Embrys to their location, pulling Embrys away from Ren's bubble. And at the same time, due to worshiping Embrys, Carl becomes immune for 60 seconds as like welcome. Let me come say hi to my new devotee. And Embrys appears right there. As they are falling, Carl becomes invulnerable. Embrys appears, says, "Oh, there you are," disappears with Orthrus, quest complete, and then Carl splats onto the ground. And because of his
Donut
invulnerability, he's fine. Donut takes some damage.
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to fight Quan, who uses like, we get this, it's like a really cool, like close combat. Like they're lunging around, dodging and lunging at each other with like lightning, and Carl punching and Quanch like having really great dexterity and managing to stay away, like avoid Carl's attacks for the most part.
Well, he tries to hit him with the lightning, but he's still invulnerable
yes,
from worshiping Empress. Like
Quan doesn't understand.
Quan doesn't know. Yeah, he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And
then it runs out, but then again, Quan doesn't know that. But after a couple attacks, Quan is left like kind of confused why Carl is like invulnerable to his attacks. And then we get into the classic. Oh, this is so good. It's like the classic, like it's like the shonen manga, anime, Marvel or comic book. Like we're going to duke it out, but we're also going to duke it out ideologically and like share our feelings with one another. It's like, Goku versus Vegeta, and we're like, I hate you, Kakarot. Vegeta, don't choose evil. Carl says, you murderous fuck. I'm going to rip you to pieces. And Carl's never spoken to another crawler this way. Not really. I mean, he's been really nasty with, Maggie and Frank. But he is pissed. This is actually quite ironic. Because Quan has no crawler kills. Quan has never killed a crawler. He's just
his
actions have been, selfish and inconsiderate, and has fucked over a lot of people and gotten them killed as a result. Yeah.
So when he starts to realize that like he's not going to be able to kill Carl, he like it's almost like a Superman leap or whatever, like where he crouches down like he's getting ready to fly away.
Hold on. It's important. There's more to explore before we get to the...
Fair enough. Let's fucking do it.
So this is, I think, some of the most important lines in the book. I growled, anger building and building. I thought of what he'd done, what he'd purposely done. Don't you realize, I said? I was unable to make a coherent sentence come out. Don't you realize what you've done? I was trying to say. You only care about yourself. You're stronger than all of us, but you don't care. Think of all the good you could do. Think of how much better we'd all be if you weren't such a selfish prick. But that's not what came out. It gives me chills whenever a character's like, this is what I wanted to say, but that's not what came out. Because then it's
not
like
what came out.
Because it feels like, what happened, what I said next wasn't what it came out like on its own. Like I didn't control saying that. And I think it kind of did for Carl. Don't you realize, I said again, the words a jumbled growl, you're a bully. You're a bully and nobody likes you.
Nobody likes you.
That's why I caught myself. And then, so I want to pause on that before like what follows. Please. So this line, you're a bully and nobody likes you. That's why mom left, is the rest of that sentence.
Yes, sir.
This is what we learned in book 1, that this is the line he said to his father in response when his mom left. But we know that when his mom left and you're a bully and nobody likes you, that's why mom left. That's why mom killed herself. That's why mom tried to kill you and then kill herself. Carl is so infuriated by Quanch that he is feeling the same feelings.
Level of rage that he has not felt for another human being or person or entity since his fucking father.
Yeah.
Since his father, he is at the same level of rage and hate.
Yeah.
For Quan CH that he has for his father, and he's just thrust into this moment where like, he wants to say one thing, but what comes out is a fight.
Yeah,
that he never got to finish.
It's an I hate you. I hate you. Yeah. Like it's more than I hate you. Yes. It's like I wrote upon reflection of this, Carl has a feral anger that's clearly tied to his trauma with his mom and dad. It's overriding his reverence, like his demonstrated reverence for life. Like he cares about every single crawler's life, even if they're awful. Like Carl finds the humanity, like the redemptive qualities of almost everybody he's come across, but not here. No, I also wrote, knowing now what motivates Maggie, her daughter, and not being able to, face fighting her daughter to survive. Of all the crawlers, Quanch seems up there as the most despicable. He's simply fighting for his own survival and dispassionately fucking over anyone and everyone. Like we don't actually completely know Quanch's motivations here, but like he doesn't seem to be fighting against like a specific threat. He's just fighting for survival. And Carl sees him as like betraying humanity, even though he's not directly hunting crawlers the way that like Maggie or Frank were doing. It's almost worse because it's dispassionate. It's not, there's no humanity behind the betrayal.
Yeah, exactly. It's opportunistic. He's just a
selfish
dick. He's just an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we get what happened to Carl, or we get what happened to Carl. We get what happened to Maggie. We get, like the trauma behind their actions. But no, Juan is just an absolute fucker.
The man turned and tried to fly away. I grasped him by the magical robe and I slammed him to the ground. He hit face first into a rock and teeth went flying. I activated Talon Strike on my foot and slammed down, but the man was quick and he rolled away. Stop, a distant voice cried in my head. Stop. He's not the enemy. Fuck you, I said to that voice. He is the enemy. He's the worst kind. So even within Carl, I mean, assuming this voice is part of Carl, part of him is still recognizing the humanity of Quanch. And again, that like reverence for life I was talking about. Like part of him doesn't want to kill this guy. But then a very active part of him, the traumatized part of him is like, fuck that. He's my enemy. What he stands for is my enemy.
He needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to describe what happens next?
Yes. One gets up and attempts to Superman his ass away. I think it's like a spell.
It's an escape skill. Yeah.
It's an escape skill. So basically it'll just launch him away from wherever he is. But like as he is like punching down on his escape skill to like launch away, Carl grabs his arm and it doesn't stop the spell from happening, latches on. Juan is rocketed away while his arm is still left in Carl's hand. He ripped his fucking arm off up to the shoulder. His arm is gone.
Well, no, his arm is here. He is gone.
His arm. I read that part and I was just like, oh my God, that's so nasty. Meanwhile,
gross.
Juan like rockets basically to the nearest exit and he dips down the stairwell, right?
Yeah, I think like we later learned like the spell. Oh no, maybe it's another character that has a spell that takes them directly to a stairwell,
like the closest stairwell or something.
Anyway,
it could be that's what this is.
Carl is like, you coward, calling after him and shit talking. Meanwhile, Donut is like unconscious, I think, from the fall. And that's why like she's not present for this fight. We get some notifications. Quest failed. Get Orthrus. Not a single one of you was able to kill a level 10 puppy. A puppy! It's no wonder you guys keep dying. Jimbo the monkey is never going to get adopted now. As a penalty for failing the quest, all safe rooms will only serve monkey soup and saltine crackers for the remainder of this floor. I love the duality of the AI, like mocking them for not killing a puppy while it's also like, save the puppy. Quest complete. The dumber of the flunkies. You saved a sweet, innocent puppy. He's now frolicking on the 12th floor where he will soon resume his training Nun defiling is back on the menu.
Back on the
This is
menu. Yeah.
again referring to the Greek mythos of Cerberus and awful things Cerberus does. And they get a quest box. Wonderful. Oh my God. What an incredibly intense chapter.
But it all happens so fast.
Yeah, it does happen really fast. And it's just like nonstop action. There's moments where it's just like, we're flying the plane and it's terrible. But, those are the lulls is when, they're getting Orthros to chase them and Orthros is like snapping at them. Chapter 32. So we get a lot of cookbook entries, and this is like a common thing that Matt does. Not with every chapter or even most chapters. Just it's something that will come up a lot. Is like these cookbook entries at the very start of a chapter to kind of like frame. A lot of the cookbook entries are things like the former authors. Thoughts on the dungeon, some of their kind of like philosophies, where like parts of like their culture and where they came from, but they're also their philosophies once they've become, crawlers in the dungeon, and also a lot of like their just awful experiences. They're generally throughout the series like intense and emotionally rough, but at also times like uplifting. And you really get a sense, kind of thinking about like the one for all or the sense eight. Like there's this building camaraderie and mutual ways of thinking among like all of the crawlers or all the cookbook authors. And but there are also specific things that they disagree on, and they'll talk about it, but they're always respectful with one another, which is really, I think, important. That all the cookbook authors are chosen as people who like have this reverence for each other and for life and disdain for what's happening to them.
They're the protectors of those who can't protect themselves. You know what I mean?
So one of them, Priestley, who I think we talked about during the Iron Tangle, and his like philosophy and thoughts on like NPCs and the nature of them and how to wake them up. And killing them being a liberation. That's one thing is like some of the cookbook authors disagree on like, should we kill NPCs? Some are like, absolutely, it is freedom for them. And others are like, only do it if absolutely necessary. And they both like are always coming with examples of situations that justify their philosophy. So it becomes challenging and deep. And here we get Priestley explaining a practical reason not to kill them. I think it talks about like he accidentally kills an NPC and it causes some horrible things to happen.
Oh no, you're talking. It's Justice Light.
Justice Light did. Okay.
So he kills an NPC who's like a shopkeeper.
Yes.
And he thinks, oh, I'll just be able to loot his shop or I'll loot his inventory or whatever. But when he kills him,
bad. Yeah.
There's no inventory.
Oh, that's right.
Kills the shopkeeper, thinking that he'll be able to get the inventory or whatever. Like he got mad in this one moment, kills the shopkeep, and then he ends up fucking over all of his fellow crawlers because that was a good spot
that
for
was
them
like
to
a
trade.
Source. Yeah,
it was a good source of things for like the rest of the crawlers, and he like in his moment of anger kills the shopkeeper and then like screws over a lot of like his fellow crawlers and his people because of this one moment of anger, like irrational anger towards this NPC, which, let's face it, they're just as trapped as the crawlers are. And that's the point I think that some of the other entries are trying to make. Like, they can't help what they're doing. We can try to enlighten them, wake them up, maybe, bring them to our side of thinking or whatever. But like they're put here just the same as we are. So, but like in this one moment, Justice Light is like, I made a mistake. And it really stuck with him, and it like fucked with him like a lot. From this one action where he should have just taken a minute to like think and pause,
Yeah, this is something we should note and remain aware of. Do not make the same mistake as me. Killing of these innocents should be kept to a minimum unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even
that changes everything for him.
Yeah. So we get this entry, and then we are just kind of cutting to like the big boss action, both with Emberus and Quanch is over. But there is, like, we have several chapters left. We're on 32 out of 34 plus epilogue, and there's still a lot going on. Carl and Katya are still talking about this like mystery plan they have, and their promise to Juicebox and phases of plans, and we just don't know like what's in store for us. But we do know like their plan is to save as many people from their bubbles as possible. Ren checks in. You know, our world is still incredibly hot, but we have someone who can go finish our bubble, and we'll be able to get to the stairwell. Thank you, Carl. Even though earlier she was like, "Fuck you for putting us in this situation," but she thanks him. They got some really great rewards from their loot boxes for the quest that they got lumped into. Carl reviews a lot of what like worshiping means. He has some new tattoos on his the back of his hands. Mordecai reports that there's now a shrine in their safe room. He's really pissed about this because he told them to stay away from gods. Donut has this great quote: "Religion. You can't join a religion, Carl. You wake up at noon on Sundays." Carl reads a bunch of the rules that he has to adhere to, but it comes also with a bunch of benefits, which includes donating a drop of blood and a 5% gold tithe, which he knows Donut's gonna fucking hate. He cannot hurt other worshippers of Embrys, and now has access to Club Vanquisher. We finally got access. Woo!
Yes.
He remarks that there is nothing in the cookbook about god worship. There's just a lot of entries that we've seen throughout the chapters about like stay the fuck away from gods.
We see one crawler who ended up having to worship a god, and then like it was a sponsored god, so like some alien shithead paid for the right to be this god on like whatever season or whatever season it was, and like he was getting messages like, "Tell me I'm the prettiest god," or "Tell me that I'm the most special." And like I think he tried to ignore her or it or whatever it was, and he got a smite or whatever, and like anyway. So like,
he was like, I'm gonna try and like stop worshiping the god and go down the stairwell at the same time so I can avoid the smite, and then then the entry ends, and then the next entry is like, yeah, this was this crawler's last entry.
Yeah, dude. And it just says stay the fuck away from God.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, exactly.
So this is kind of uncharted territory where they only have Mordecai being like, stay away, and he doesn't have any special insight other than like what Samantha will be able to offer if she offers it. Carl receives some quests for future floors. They are kill my brother Helic and find out who killed my son Gayron. Which is just setting us up for, especially probably 12th floor content, but, some other stuff along the way, I'm sure. Donut remarks, surely a smite is not as bad as a 5% gold tithe.
And then we learned that B and her parents used to donate, what was it, like 10 or 15% or something?
Yeah, I'm assuming they're Mormon, is potentially the implication. I don't know of any other Northwest folk religions.
I think they were Catholic or something.
I mean, growing up Catholic, we've never had a tithe. Maybe B's family decided to do that, but that's not a tithe, that's a donation.
Okay.
Or maybe they thought of it as a tithe if they were like nut job, Bible literalists or something. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Carl reviews the rings from Quanch's arm. A strength ring, a ring that gives him the ability to see harmed monsters and crawlers, as well as creatures with magic gear on his map, which explains why Quanch was had a hit and run style, and would move up to monsters with magic gear, attack them, take it, and run. And then the third ring has an inscription. It is a plain ring, and it says, "For Daddy." And I wrote 2 words. I wrote in all caps, "Stop it." I don't want to feel like Quanch has humanity. but he is a human. And that's what
He is a human
Carl's
being.
inner voice was trying to say.
Yeah.
Carl keeps the arm. Jesus Christ.
Why wouldn't he?
Donuts.
He keeps everything.
Yeah, he does. But like Katya and Elle and Amani and people are like in the chat with Donut, who is relaying to other people that Carl took his arm and kept it. And they're like, Jesus Christ, Carl. And she's like, he's gonna use it as a back scratcher. Like Donut is just insane.
I love it. Oh, unhinged. It's just so funny. Yeah.
Katya messages and warns that Louis has found the coffee shop author kit in their bathroom because he had the monkey soup and it didn't turn out well, so he had to run to the bathroom, and the closest bathroom at the moment was theirs. Louis didn't know about it. And so Carl starts writing into his digital version so that it would show up on the authorship kit, and he starts to write a message like, don't say anything, and then he runs out of ink.
Because Louis knocked the fucking inkwell over and like lost all of the ink. So like
and this is the first insight into how they have been using the coffee shop author kit, and that is to secretly plan and communicate where the cameras aren't, the bathroom.
Right, messages to them, so, like to each other in the bathroom. Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that so much in these novels happens off camera, off the page, like so much communication, because it would bog the story down, but it also makes room for these we had been talking about this and now we are doing the thing. So it just helps us like cut ahead. And it's also why I said that this item was probably the second most important item in this perhaps book, or up until this point, because it has allowed them their underground resistance to plan something that no one is going to see coming. When there are cameras everywhere, they have used an exploit.
Well, so they've been sort of hinting that they're going to unleash a feral god onto a floor, and I think that's that's what he keeps saying. He's like, well, now that we have the gate,
they keep making little comments here and there, but they're not talking about the plan. But there's just these little comments, and they are peppered throughout these chapters, which is incredible because all these little crumbs there lying are a red herring. It's really great. We'll get to that. So then they start to proceed with their rescue plan. And this is their multiple stage plan beginning. They start using the Gate of the Feral Gods so they start meeting crawlers in the Desperado Club. Crawlers who are trapped in sealed bubbles. They give them the gate and instruct them how to use it. They tell them exactly what to dial. And it lets those crawlers teleport out of their sealed bubbles to their bubble with a stairwell before handing it off to another group in the club. And so there's just like a line basically in the Desperado Club waiting for these groups of crawlers to portal out. And it leaves the feral gods trapped in the bubbles as these crawlers escape. It is safe. Like we saw Emberus pounding on the bubble that he thought his dog was sealed in,
break through,
and he couldn't get through. So they are impenetrable. They enact the plan. We learn a lot about details of like how they decided who to help, and it's like at first it's only people in bubbles where all the quadrants, where all of the crawlers are accessible and no crawler will be left behind. They get through all of those, and then they start helping ones where they're less sure, like if there are crawlers trapped in other quadrants. So there's like multiple phases to their plan. As we move into chapter 33, this is where we get a Priestley entry. Priestley talks about the city of Larakos and how beautiful it is, and how sad it is that it will be destroyed every crawl through the faction wars. And he writes at a point in time where the war hasn't started and hasn't reached Larakos. The war always winds up with a siege on Larakos. And he's afraid his mind will shatter to see such a beautiful thing destroyed and all of the NPCs that live here suffering. And he like just really remarks on how much of a real lived-in city it feels like. Really interesting. Kind of seems like a sort of like out of place entry. But you know, we've been getting a lot of these entries and they seem to line up a little bit thematically with each. So, you know, okay, all right, we'll see where this is going. And that's kind of how some of these entries feel, is like, I don't know where this is going. I'm excited to see where it is going. So the evacuations are going well. A few gods are showing up in response to the arrival of feral gods, but when they do, they tend to quickly disappear, seeing that the feral gods are trapped and not being able to interact with them. Carl notes that the number of crawlers has fallen under 100,000. And through their evacuation system, they're able to save about 1,500 crawlers that wouldn't have survived. And they like, there's trust. It's like the, you know, survival mission to the end of the line with the hats from the Iron Tangle. Like, all of these crawlers are happy to be saved. You know, they donated the hats back, they get the gate back. Like, no one tries to fuck them over and take the item, like this legendary artifact for it themselves. Yeah.
And it's just, and it goes off. It takes a couple of like days. It seems like they have 3 days left or whatever, and it just goes off without a hitch. And it's kind of like amazing. And I think after that fight with Quan, I think this is what Carl needed to like reaffirm his faith in
humanity.
Like, humanity. Affirming. And, like, not everybody is a total piece of shit. Most of them just want to like survive and help as many people survive as they can as well. So like, it was just
and after all of the like hullabaloo with the suing to keep Carl from getting the gate of the feral gods and the risk of unleashing gods and extinction level events of summoning gods so early, there is, you know, there is a Cascadia announcement that shares like, the ratings are through the right roof right now. Great job, everybody. Keep it up. Like, we are happy with what you're doing because you're making us money. Rather than you know, patching the gate and removing it like we expected them to, and trying and like,
We also learned that like they're only going to release so many feral gods for like the amount of people that they're ferreting out of these other bubbles. They aren't all like, it's like a crapshoot. I think like once they got to 50 gods or something like that, they were like, cool, that's as many gods as we can summon or whatever.
I think she announces like, we're lowering the god spawn rate in response for fear of causing an extinction level event. She also she starts talking about some 6th floor stuff, the hunting grounds. She's like, some people will be picking subclasses, there's going to be a guild system, the hunters will be joining us, and there's a record number of them this year thanks to an anonymous sponsor. Someone is fronting the bill for all these hunters to come kill you all. Mordecai is like, they can't afford an extinction level event. They're, you know, they want you to die on their schedule. Don't expect them to help you at all, like to lift a finger once sponsorships are over, when you're unsaid, when your value will drop. And we learned that Miriam, Dom, and Prepotente are trying to kill a level 150 feral god. Good luck to them, if anyone's gonna do it.
I mean, it's the giant turkey, isn't it?
I think so. It doesn't matter. But Carl and Donut, who had flown very far away, begin a trek back to the starting bubble. They're not going to use the gate to head back to their starting bubble, because that would unleash an unchecked feral god. So they use the royal chariot, and they just have a nice, pleasant drive. They meet up with everyone, including Florin, who last we saw had just like sat down in his starting room and refused to pick a quadrant to start in.
I think they did give an update on him, and that eventually he did come out. I think it was like on the last recap, but like,
oh, that's right.
He was like, basically like everyone else in his bubble was dead. He
Yeah,
was
that's
alone, and
true.
he had gotten three of the stairwells unlocked, and he was stuck on
Yeah.
the fourth one, and he basically he wouldn't have made it.
Yeah. And this is where we learn like the rest of the plan. They talk about like, hey, we have this method for summoning a feral god at the other side of the portal, and we're gonna do that right at the end of this floor. You
Yeah,
know, at the last second. Florin is like, I understand you're throwing a feral god party onto the, throwing a feral god onto the ninth floor. I wanted to meet you. I was done, mate. I didn't have anything, he said, suddenly emotional. You should have met her, my Iffy. She was amazing. A ray of light. She was the bravest, kindest person I'd ever met. She gave me hope. I was done until I went into the club and I met Elle. She told me a story about this man and his cat who'd stopped everything he was doing to help a group of old people in wheelchairs. I'm getting goosebumps right now, by the way. And how this same man was planning on using this artifact he'd found to save people stuck in their bubbles. And it reminded me that Iffy wasn't the only one, that there is a good in this world, that there is something left to fight for. I might die tomorrow, but it won't be because I've given up. And I want to thank you for that. Lauren is calling Carl a ray of light and a gift of hope to others. It's so
it made me incredibly emotional to read that.
so sweet. What
It
a
made
what
me
a little
very.
sweetheart.
I even now, even hearing you read the words, it just like it made me cry the first time I read it. I mean,
Yeah.
it still makes me cry, but like
Yeah.
it's
It's
incredibly tragic that
it's yeah.
he was done. He was giving up. He didn't have anything to live for, and then Ellie is like, hey, let me tell you, have you heard the good word?
Have you met Carl?
Have you met Carl? Yeah, exactly. And it's just, yeah, it makes me that whole scene. He is an incredibly intense dude. He is an
Yeah.
incredibly. Florin is very intense, but like that whole scene
He's like
made
a
me.
mercenary. He was a mercenary.
He was.
Yeah.
That whole scene makes me incredibly emotional, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It's also
Yeah.
it's very beautiful because like it's this reminder like we have access to Carl's interiority, so we know that he is an angry like nearly broken but refuses to be broken man with a lot of
Yeah.
trauma and anger and hate for a lot of people that have caused great injustice. But there is something beautiful about that is inspiring others, and it's like Carl is this symbol, at least to
Yeah.
Florin and to Elle, apparently, who used
And
his
to
story.
everyone who is like them, like I
Mhm.
love that we get these glimpses, and like it's like a word of mouth thing, because despite how the show is trying to portray Carl as being fucking crazy and unhinged and like laughing
Yeah,
and cutting people's heads off and
and
like
hands over and over.
and and hands over and over, like despite
Yeah,
all of that, like through word of mouth and like people who he's saved and people who he's helped, directly and indirectly, they're just like, yeah, no, we believe in Carl. Carl is a
yeah,
good guy. Don't believe the hubbub, like it's just, oh god, it gives me
yeah. It's good.
it gets
Uh,
I feel like I I don't know. I just, yeah, incredibly emotional scene.
speaking of emotional, there are a few hours left and a few crawlers left on the floor. Katya approaches and mentions that she on the next floor is going to
Yeah.
start her own group. She's gonna go recruit daughters, former daughters, go after Eva. And she's also like, I have stuff I need to do, and you two are doing your own thing, and I don't think I should be around. But I'll stay in the party. Like, I won't break up our room. We'll still see each other, for in the evenings
At the end
or
of the day, yeah.
for the recap. Donut is upset about this. She asks, "What did Carl do?" Um,
Immediately.
yeah. It's really sad, especially because you know, like he's become very close with Katya, and this is a woman figure in his life who is leaving him, and he holds back a desperate plea to beg her not to leave him.
Please don't leave me. Yeah, absolutely.
it's very funny because I think in the previous book, or maybe the second one, Carl has been frustrated, stating, why can't we all just be honest with one another? Things would be so much easier if we just said how we felt. And here he is refusing to say how he feels.
I know, but he
he
also
recognizes
think
he's
this is
being
the
selfish.
right call.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the right call. So like, you can say how you feel. Please don't leave me. Like, but at the same time, do you want her to stay out of a sense of guilt? No.
Yeah. No.
But
No.
I think it's, he's grown to look at Katya as someone that he can depend on, as a friend, as someone that he really truly cares about, who cares about him. And I don't think that up till this point in his life, he's had that many people in his life who could say that. He's had his buddies that he played, video games with. He had
Sam,
B,
I think,
who cheated on him. Exactly. Like he had some surface level relationships with people, but nobody that in a pinch maybe he could call and say like, hey, I need you, I need help, I'm feeling this way. And maybe that's why all of this is bottled up in the way. We don't know what would have happened if he
that he
had
had
a
like
stable
a
presence
lot
in his
of
life.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
No one that he felt like he could share, that he had a shared foundational experience with, a shared trauma, a shared hurt, that he never felt he could open up to and have his feelings validated about. But here in the crawl, they're all being subjected to this bullshit. And so he, grows a kinship with them because I think he feels he can share that with them. They have a big hug. But before that, far, far away in another open bubble, Imani, El, Louis, and Firis and a ton of changelings use the gate to open a portal to the 6th floor with the twister loaded up with changelings, and they fly it into the portal. Before Imani and El and Louis and Firis meet up with Carl to give him the gate so that he can summon his feral god to the 9th floor on top of an army. We have the chat with Katya. There is a big hug between the three of them. And then they state the final phase has begun during the hug. I'll just call it out here. There's a hidden exchange here that is crucial to their plan. It is important for us to think, and for everyone watching to think, that Carl has the gate of the feral gods, and that they think, and to think that this is just a sweet farewell. There has been an exchange of an item. Katya has the gate of the feral gods, but we don't know this, and that's why this next chapter really works, and a lot happens in this next chapter.
Oh, it slaps! It's so fucking good.
Let's try and get through it. So we get another entry into the cookbook. The second user of the cookbook, Porthos. It is him remarking. So he is actually the first wielder of the cookbook, even though it lists him as the second. The first edition is a blank book. I think this is clarified in a later book, but he is the first user. And he remarks on like, how long will it take for this cookbook to have value? How many centuries and centuries or millennia until any real proper value is earned? I'm taking a deal, I'm getting out of here, but I'm not done. One day I will make them pay. I hope this cookbook helps someone. This is really powerful because it just gives you chills thinking like, how long has it been and how many people have had to suffer for this item that is really helping Carl and all of these characters? Like how much suffering has had to happen,
thousands of years has
to
it
build
been
this up? Yeah.
To get to the point where it is now an incredibly valuable item in the dungeon, and that it can be used to bring about the downfall of everything.
But this is also, it's very special, this being the first user. The first user of the cookbook escaped the dungeon and is out there, outside the dungeon, and has been for a very long time. That is extremely powerful and also equally gave me shivers.
Yeah.
And, there's been a lot of things happening that we can't explain. And it just makes you wonder, who is this Porthos person? And is he involved or she? I think Porthos is a she.
Porthos is a man.
Oh, Porthos is a man. Okay. We cut to Carl saying farewell to Langley and his car salesman Archer crew. Remember them from the first few chapters?
Yeah,
they've been around. He says farewell and see you on the next floor. I think they are also going to be doing their own thing on the next floor. I think they're going to go hunting some of the crawler hunting groups. Like they're going to go hunt crawlers who are hunting other crawlers. It's kind of ironic. Juicebox has a really emotional farewell about caring about her changeling family and thanking Carl for helping them move to the next floor. She says, like, I cannot lose them. Asks Carl to remember their deal. While they're chatting, Katya is out in the water quadrant training, killing some sharks, leveling up skills and level and XP and everything, just, making the most of it. We think nothing of this because we don't know what I just told us about what Katya has. We think it's just like being efficient and effective with her time. Carl messages that there's like a conversation about Carl's timing for opening the gate at the last second because the portal lasts for 20 minutes. We don't know what this means, but Carl's like, yeah. I'll make sure I do it at the last second. This is when we learn about the method to summon a feral god on both sides of the portal, which is their exploit that they're going to use to drop a feral god on an enemy team. Juicebox says that she will carry the box through the portal to make sure that it happens. There is a lot of language about how Carl has loudly shared the plan and how they were, intentionally doing this. Carl reveals that because of Prince Stalwart's and video announcement when he declared that he had killed Carl and Donut when he shot the wrong production trailer, that he knew based on the background that the Skull Empire chose the only section of the 9th floor that had a pre-built castle. And they have a map of where that is. They know where to drop a feral god. 7 of the 9 factions had sued to stop Carl from doing this. They knew the armies weren't yet strong enough to hold back an attack from a feral god, especially if a second god was summoned to their location in response. The ensuing chaos would be enough to flatten their fortifications and kill their armies. So everybody knows that Carl's plan is to drop a god and feral god onto the Skull Empire. Zev reaches out to them to chime in and let Carl know that there were some last-minute cases suing to prevent this still, but Borant defended the Volte. Borant. What? I wrote something weird here. Borant and the Volte. These warring factions. They work together to litigate and defend Carl, citing that he is now a stock owner. And as a stock owner, he's a citizen, and that the cases were filed in the wrong court, and they successfully defended this. This is like, the AI was clever. The AI assisted in making this happen by giving Carl these stocks. It's really great. And I wrote here, Jesus, it's Game of Thrones. Borant and Volte working together. Zev says, I'm passing along a message from my boss, Crawler Carl and Donut. While we approve of what you are planning, we wish to make something clear. Game-breaking antics that directly affect sponsors will not be tolerated in the future. Carl's like, Borant supports us, and we're forcing sponsors to pay more money to protect their investment, spend money to protect money. You should be happy with what we're doing because we're going to make you even more money doing this.
Right, and he's also like, why'd you give us the tools? Well, don't give me.
Yeah, so he's thinking this we're actually helping you, and that's why you're letting us do this, and he feels deeply satisfied. Tell them I said fuck you very much, and if they don't want their game broken, maybe they shouldn't give us the tools to break it. Zev, that language is not acceptable. Good luck. And I wrote good luck because Zev is being professional, but I'm sure Zev is elated that this is
Yeah. Oh no,
happening.
she's
Um,
so excited.
So another crawler that I don't think we've met, Gideon, reaches out and warns them that the gate that Amani summoned when they sent off the Twister, let loose a feral demon that is heading their way. Carl at that moment receives an emergency platinum sponsor box that's extremely expensive. It has an enhanced Chistera extension slot.
Yep.
Specifically for throwing heads.
Yep.
It is a unique item. It was created especially for Crawler Carl by the Open Intellect Pacifist Action Network. The pacifist nonprofit. It tosses heads. It enhances the distance of throwing a withering spirit. And heads that are thrown with it will return to the thrower when the extension is removed. This is built exclusively for Carl to throw Samantha.
Yep.
It's
I love
incredible.
It's like, it couldn't be any more clear, like what he needs to do. Like they're like, fucking do it, guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Later in the chapter, we see Carl like thumbing over an engraving on it that says something specific about who designed it. It was designed by Dr. P. Who.
Yep.
We don't know who that is. Oh wow, it's really interesting that the chapter started with an entry by a crawler named Porthos. Probably no connection whatsoever.
No.
Anyway, we learn from Samantha that a demon named Slit is approaching.
Can I tell you, I laughed. Like I did a real LOL. I laughed out loud when I her sister's name is Gash.
Yeah. There's a lot of really wild,
so tasteless and horrible, and I love it so much.
So it's really funny because this is probably the first time that we are exposed to demon hierarchy, which we later are going to learn that is actually important for the 15th floor. Where Sheol is, where the fire is for the Sheol glass case, some fire abilities and demon related abilities. There is actually a hierarchy, and there's a lot going on with an actually very structured plot of what's going on in hell, basically. And this is our first exposure to it. Samantha shares that Slit is pissed at her because she had shared with Slit that something about sleeping with her man, but it was actually a misunderstanding because Samantha was just talking about sleeping with her king, but Slit thought she was talking about sleeping with Slit's king. And due to this comical misunderstanding, Slit and all of the I'm forgetting the harem, the demon harem.
Yeah, it's a demon harem.
They're all pissed at her. So Carl takes Samantha as Slit approaches, and throws Samantha. How far? 31 miles. He's very strong. He has a very powerful item that is magically enhanced to throw withering spirits a multiplicative distance. So Slit chases after Samantha, and then Carl goes, "I'm taking off the extension," and Slit just keeps running. It's very
Looney. It's very a chain of events. It is very Looney Tunes.
It's very Looney Tunes and sets off a huge chain of events. Anyway, Slit runs away. They use Juicebox to locate Maggie and Chris, who they've learned can burrow underground. And Juicebox can transform into a creature that can specifically locate them, which is very clever. They have set the gate of the feral gods off to the side in the sand, and are just watching Juicebox change form. And at the surface level, it looks like they're just being entertained by Juicebox, but Juicebox keeps every other creature changing into the one that can locate Maggie Chris. So it's a very
Yeah.
clever way of like, okay, we have a plan to not get bamboozled by this creature that can burrow underneath us. Um, and as Maggie is approaching, she's like throwing her voice to like talk to Carl. And she informs us that she has actually let go of her anger towards Carl, and is simply acting to protect herself and her family. She shares that a Caprid liaison, another liaison, this is the second liaison we've heard about in this book,
Mm-hmm.
who is telling her what to do. A liaison who's supposed to be a third party, independent, impartial force is telling Maggie what to do. She jumps out. She goes for the gate. Her plan is to destroy it so that they can't use it anymore because this liaison supposedly doesn't want him to have it. And they use a potion that was made with a part of the yam. It is like a phase through magma lava rock potion, which is very oddly specific, but whatever. To phase through Chris, but grab Maggie, rip her out, throw her to Mongo, who eats her. And Chris is saved.
Bye-bye, Maggie.
It honestly, for me, and maybe it's just because I, am incapable of not like marathoning chapters. Maybe it's because I was like emotionally drained when I read this, but it felt like Chris's saving was kind of like
anticlimactic.
Not anticlimactic. It was just like it didn't feel as big as all the other shit that they immediately just went through, and the fact that they kind of already had a huge emotional moment with Chris Maggie earlier, when they realized like what was going on. So I'm not saying it didn't work for me, but I feel like it didn't hit as hard as maybe I was expecting it to when they ultimately saved Chris or didn't save Chris. Like, I'm excited. I'm very happy.
I wish that Maggie's death had been more drawn out. It wasn't the saving of Chris. It was the killing of Maggie.
Yeah.
That I was like, she should have suffered more. But like, what's great is that we know Mongo's MO. He chewed Maggie up, barfed her out, and then ate her again. But like the first time that, he barfed her up, Donut was smart enough to like loot her body. So like we get some kind of important gear from Maggie.
Yes.
Maggie's corpse after Mongo had spit her back up. But like I think I kind of I don't I'm it's not I get why it didn't hit for you, but I'll tell you why it hit for me. Because we had not just the emotional like Chris Maggie moment. We had all of this time knowing that Maggie was like riding Chris like a suit of armor,
and it was tormenting for him. And I think if they had reminded us of how tormented Chris was by this,
it would have
in some way.
Yeah, like it feels like, why are we pouring salt onto that wound? And we don't need to have that conversation anyway, because like immediately as soon as Maggie is gone and Chris is freed and he's been healed and he wakes up, the first thing he says is, "Oh my God, Brandon."
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, Brandon, this man is already tortured. We don't need to have like a big emotional moment like, "Hey, you're saved now, buddy." This is a moment of quiet introspection. This guy is finally free after having been hijacked by this worm for however long, however many floors, however many days that like it took to get up to this point. He's been hurt enough.
Yeah.
We need to let this man have like we're all thinking the same thing as we're reading it. We're like, "Oh my God, like he's finally free." And he has this quiet moment to himself to like mourn the loss of his brother and the loss of people and the people that he killed while Maggie was using his hands. So like it doesn't need to be more than that, but like I understand why you're saying like it felt like maybe there should have been more, but like I don't know, I think it's what's not being said that is more.
It
loud to
felt
me.
like, yeah, it wasn't as loud as everything else going on, and there was a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, but that's how these books end. You know? It's just balls to the wall, right up to the bitter end. And then you have like these small sad moments in between, or sometimes they're small funny moments. And this was a sad one, you know?
It was. Yeah. And then we jump to the next thing.
Yep.
Juicebox joins them and is like, okay, I'm ready for the plan. Really scary that you were willing to use like the gate of the feral gods as bait for Maggie. And Carl goes, oh, that was a fake gate. New plan. We're keeping the gate. We're not sending you with it to the ninth floor. We're still going to need you. And you're still going. And in fact, we need you to get to the ninth floor, wake up all of the NPCs in Laracos, make them aware, and get everybody ready. We are going to need all the NPCs. To which Juicebox is like, okay, I guess.
She's like, what the fuck?
But like, you better, but what's important to me is you keep my people safe and you keep Louis safe. We're getting married.
I loved it.
And there's just like this, what?
Out of everything, that's the thing that he focuses on. And he's like, Louis?
Yeah.
Believe it. He's like stunned silence, jaw hanging open. That made me laugh. Yeah, that's great.
Yes, and now Louis is our I'm gonna marry my hooker trope.
They're in love. She's a pretty woman. Get out of here.
It's adorable. We'll see a lot more of that in the future and how that goes.
So he tells her to sprout wings and to fly to the ocean. It'll be very clear what she has to do next.
Yep.
When she gets there.
Yes. Meanwhile, Katya has the Gate of the Feral Gods. This is when we learn there was an exchange, which is, again, shocking. Katya opens the Gate of the Feral Gods underwater and starts tossing chum bombs through to lure sharks in. They are filling up the city of Laracos. They are flooding the markets and leaving the upper levels intact, but otherwise cutting off the. So it all snaps into picture really quickly with the entry about the debate of harming NPCs and only doing it for the greater good. The factions, what we learned from Mordecai about needing the markets to buy equipment and hire mercenaries, and the hunters being able to make money off of selling equipment by selling through the markets. There's food markets for the troops there. The Desperado Club is there for them to seek entertainment and other resources. Borant needs the money from all of that because they get a cut, and that has also been fucked.
Yes, we learn about all of this exposition from Zev, who is breathlessly it sounds like as she's chatting this to Carl.
Yeah,
it's like
I have her.
It's like it sounds like she's scolding him. You have it?
Yeah. Oh my God, Carl, they are enraged. Not I. Mind you, they are enraged, the sponsors and probably Borant too. This is not what you promised. Zev had dropped any semblance of her good little citizen of the party persona. Carl, I promised nothing, is his response. You gave me these tools. I am playing your game. We also learned from Zev that half of the armies were in the city to protect them from the gods being summoned. They squander, or they sent off half their armies to, hide to make sure that they didn't get hurt. They're all being flooded and swarmed with sharks and jelly. You were right. This is when the jellyfish come in. I thought it was always sharks because that's what we mostly learn about, and the chum bombs affect the sharks the most. But anyway, this is just incredible. This is what they were planning. It is paying off even more than the murder of Loida. We have dialed it up from 11 to 100. Carl responds, "This will be great for ratings." You gave me the tools for this. And it's just a huge disruption of control, of order, at least until the city gets drained. But it also feels like, okay, Carl has secured the target on his back. They will be coming for him, not just because of the ring, or the bounty, or the Gate of the Feral Gods. You know, they're going to be seeking revenge.
It's worth saying that, like, while Zev is telling him all of this, like, he realizes that, like, while what's supposed to come across as like a scolding and like outrage is that she's giving him vital information, and like she almost sounds excited while she's saying these things to him, and it's like he picks up on it, but like, you know, he knows Zev. So like, oh, it was so good.
She shares with him more reasons why this was a good thing than he even anticipated.
Yes.
Mordecai is freaking out. And he's like, you can't do this. This is terrible. This is gonna get Donut killed. Carl doesn't care, and Donut pushes back. She's like, no, Carl didn't do this. We did this. This is also the same moment where he's like looking at the Chistera extension and sees that it was designed by President of Outreach Operations, Dr. P. Who Porthos. And it's like, oh my God, his sponsor is the first cookbook author.
And we get that confirmation in the very beginning of the epilogue, where he's taught, like these two people are talking, and they're like, he's going to get himself killed. He's never going to make it to the next level. And then, you know, and then she's like, Porthos. And then I got full body goosebumps when I read who she was talking to, like who this unnamed person is talking to. And it was just,
it's Porthos, Dr. Porthos who, he's like, you know what, we're all in on Carl. I believe in him. You know, you said that about the last floor and the floor before that. And he's just like, you know, the Kuatin are in the midst of a civil war, which is a fun fact we learned from him. And he's just like, you know, we're all in, is basically what he says. Well, and it sounds like this is an organization that's been building something
for years,
for a very long time.
The woman that he's fighting with, or have like this exchange is with this person who's like, but they're gonna back his cause, and Porthos is like, it's the same cause. We're all fighting towards the same thing.
Exactly.
And it's just, ooh.
Yeah. This like revelation that there is this outside,
I when I read
this like former cookbook author with an organization that he built, or at least was a part of, like, that's, you know, got Carl's back. It's probably, I don't know, this employee makes us feel like we can't completely trust, because she doesn't think that they're on the same page with Carl, but Porthos does. It does feel like, you know, this is a group that will have Carl's back no matter what.
Without knowing, without Carl being able to be like, hey, I have the anarchist cookbook. Porthos is reading the fucking signs. He's like, he's got the cookbook. He has the cookbook. He must know, because like over the seasons, we've already determined, like, okay, Porthos is the second author in the cookbook, or the first author in the cookbook, basically. Like, we've determined, like, he must have been around for thousands of years, right? So every season that he watches the crawl, he can recognize the signs of who the cookbook falls into the hands. Yes, absolutely. And he's like, it's Carl. We're all in on Carl. And they've got like a network. I've got goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah. And this mixed with like what Carl says on the last page. So status update, he's number 1 on the leaderboard. He shows the ring of divine suffering to the camera, you know, up into the air. You guys see this? I'll tell you what, if you want it, it's yours. So he's not addressing the audience. He's addressing the factions. If you want this, it's here. It's yours. Come and get it, motherfuckers. Actually, you know what? I have a better idea. No need to come to me, because I'll be coming to you. That's my pledge to you and to everyone else watching this. By the time the 6th floor collapses, every single hunter who dares to set foot on the same floor as us will be dead. Donut, Mongo, and I move to the stairwell. This I swear on my life. One by one, I will break you. I will break you all. And it's out in the open, at the end of the last book, he was writing in his entry in the cookbook, I will break them all. He hadn't done any action. He, murdered Loita. It was a quiet thing. He just barely managed to eke by. But this was a declaration of war against the sponsors and the showrunners. And it's all out there. He's stating, this is my intent. I am coming for you all. And it feels absolutely triumphant. It's shocking. And it, cannot wait for the next book with an ending like this. So there are the 2 epilogue scenes. The first one we've discussed. The second one has the second scene actually has 2 different perspective characters, which is really interesting. The first one is an alien bounty hunter who has another bounty hunter with him. They're near Seattle arguing over whether or not they've found Gravy Boat, who's on a walk-on list, a list of people among the natives who are on the surface, who are black market desired to be collected to be sold for
a walk-on.
Yeah, to be on shows or to sell back to the showrunner to put into the dungeon. Yeah, and we learn a lot about the nature of the classifications of people on the planet that is being, reaped. We learn how the collected are used in dungeons. We've seen that. We learn about the ban on use of children and pregnant women. The bounty hunter that's our perspective character is bemoaning a lot of those syndicate rules over their presence on the planet and the barriers they have to do their jobs, which is a black market job. But also he's a race called the Knoll that is there's a lot of racism and lack of privilege for his race.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to get jobs. So he's doing this to try and pay for support his family. And it's a very complicated, quick perspective character that's very interesting and just insight into, socioeconomics in the galaxy and some of the other horrible practices around the crawl. We learned that they are not looking for Beatrice because the tropical area she was on vacation on got hit with a tsunami. But there are others looking for, quote, that little girl's father elsewhere. I assume they're looking for Lucia Marr's father.
I also assumed that. Yeah. I mean, because it's she's the only other little kid in the dungeon. That's it. That's her.
Yeah. I mean, what other little girl do we know? Yeah.
None.
Yeah. Yes.
And
so
when we meet them though, they've got a cat.
Yeah.
They've caught a cat, but it's not the cat that
it's not Gravy Boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So they check their scanners and there's there's a couple other cats nearby. Let's move towards that human camp over there. They're sleeping. We'll go check that out. And then we cut to our second perspective character. Fucking Brad. So we'll walk through the scene and then I'll talk about why this actually really works for me.
Okay.
Brad is really annoyed that Beatrice will not stop crying and is not pulling her weight among the members of their camp. We learn about the strange and coincidental weather circumstances and a strange man setting cars on fire at their airport on the way back from their
garage.
trip.
Yeah.
So basically we learned Carl dumped Beatrice. Beatrice reacted heavily when he texted her. She left to go home early. Brad came with her. We learned that Brad regrets his choice not to seek glory in the dungeon. And Beatrice, they made it back to Seattle. They got to SeaTac and then eventually, I guess, made their way to Queen Anne, which I'm picturing this, and that's a long way to walk.
I think, it must have been.
But they figured it out anyway.
Yeah.
But they made their way back to Beatrice's home. She found Ferdinand. she has him, and he is scratching her, but she is like crying, clutching him close. She's, you know, trying to self-soothe horribly. The bounty hunters cut into their tent. They see Beatrice. They say some weird language things. Lexus from Audette's show shows up.
Yep.
Brad goes for one of their guns. And we quick cut to Lex. Oh, okay. We have another perspective character, Lexus, reporting back to Audette that she has Beatrice and Ferdinand, and she's chatting about how to frame the Null bounty hunter for everything. Basically, like, they're doing a black market activity by taking Beatrice and Ferdinand. They're framing the Null. They're being racist. They're like, this will work, you know. And then the other bounty hunter will buy his indentureship and basically
buy his silence.
And buy his silence. Will sell Ferdinand to a security guard and give him back to Borant. And then Lexus signs off with, well, I guess that worked out for almost everybody. The thing that Maggie was afraid of looks like it's probably going to happen to Donut and or Carl.
Exactly.
Great.
I mean, and the last thing that Audette says is, we can't all have happy endings. Now get to work.
Yep.
Oh, Audette. Audette, you motherfucker.
It paints Audette in a very dark light. It paints the galaxy in a very dark light with all these nefarious activities.
And that's how the goddamn book ends.
Crazy. This is really good. Really great book. Especially the second half.
So
the first half just feels like a bunch of contrived bullshit, but it like gets us going and is fun and interesting in terms of like the quest chain. But it just like it just keeps ramping up and gets crazier and crazier.
And that's his bread and butter, dude. That's how he does it. That's like you can't. He throws them into danger right as soon as they get to a world, and then they, you know, have to figure out the world that they're in and, like, you know, what's dangerous, how do I fight these things? And then from there it gets deeper and darker, and, you know, we get the quests, we get like greater interactions with the NPCs, like with the storyline. What story are the showrunners trying to push this time? What am I supposed to do as a crawler, as the game player? What is my motivation in this goddamn scene? You know what I mean? So like, it's just that's his bread and butter. Matt Dinniman does this fucking better than anybody. So
so we've resolved a lot of early storylines with Chris. You know, we and Maggie and Frank. We have met a new character, Samantha, and a couple other really interesting characters like Louis. We have a house and NPCs that are, you know, our friends. We've sent them off to the next floor. We've sent off Juicebox to the 9th floor to go recruit more NPCs immediately after flooding their home, which has declared war on the factions.
There's a whole lot going on.
We have saved a lot more people. We've fucked over Borant even harder, and they're like about to go under a civil war, apparently. We've met a lot of the cookbook authors, which is like, that has been slowly growing as a plot device, and just also another way of like meeting new interesting characters and getting different perspectives. There's so much that happened. Oh, we got exposed to God stuff.
Early in the game. We weren't supposed to see gods for a little while yet.
No, definitely not.
And that is exciting.
That was really great. Oh, sorry. I didn't exactly talk about why the choice to have Brad as the perspective character worked for me. So I could see this as revealing this by having Beatrice as the perspective character, but I feel like given where Beatrice is at, it would just be a very mopey perspective, and we would start to feel sympathy for her and her circumstances. But doing it this way, we get Brad's perspective that's like, B is annoying.
I love it.
B, unlike everyone else in the world, B is not pulling her weight. We see Brad is very shallow because he's very self-absorbed and an asshole. and it also lets us maintain Beatrice's shallowness.
Yeah.
And
But also,
her choice
it
to
makes
be
her a
with Brad
tragic,
and learning
broken
how awful
character.
Brad is, like, makes the like Beatrice's betrayal feel even worse because, you know, she
Yes.
chose this
She chose
guy.
this over Carl.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
said that. Yeah, absolutely,
So
dude. No, agree
this
100%.
way we get to see a character we weren't expecting, which is just more shock and awe. And we get to learn all of this without Beatrice becoming too sympathetic, which is, I think, important.
Very, yeah, absolutely, dude. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that having the perspective of Brad was absolutely like perfect. Because like what a douche. You know what I
Oh my
mean?
God.
But like I do think that like seeing her, like how broken she is through his eyes, even in like those like in those short paragraphs or whatever, like I do think it makes her a somewhat sympathetic character. I'm not saying I have sympathy for her, but I can see how
Yeah.
fucking she's gone. She's not there anymore. She's crying all day. She's hugging this cat that is scratching the fuck out of her face and her arms and everything, singing this
Yeah.
gibberish song to him over and over again. She's gone. She's checked out. She's not there
It feels
anymore.
like Frank, just someone who can't face the reality
Yeah.
of their choices, even though a lot of it was out of their control.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which does suck.
So
Okay,
good.
fine. You've talked me into being sympathetic towards her. But
Just a
I'm
little
glad they
bit.
chose
Just a
Brad.
pinch.
I'm glad we
Me
chose
too.
Brad.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah, this was great. Next time we will be covering book 5, The Butcher's Masquerade.
The best goddamn book
It's
ever. Ugh.
so good. It's so good. Oh man, I can't wait.
I don't know how we're gonna get. This is gonna have to be many episodes to
Yeah,
cover.
we're gonna do 3 episodes. We'll
Okay.
start with part 1 and 2, which are the 2
Okay.
shorter sections. We'll do that, and then we will do part 3 as a separate episode, and then we will do part 4. Yeah, that'll be really good.
Got
I
goosebumps even thinking about it. I'm
I
so excited.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try a new format next time. We'll see how it goes.
Right on.
So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write or maybe abbreviate or take like modify. There's chapter summaries. Like I'll write a very quick chapter summary, and then we'll each like talk about like 1 or 2 points of like this was a highlight for me.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, that sounds perfect. Let's just like
Great,
we'll get through all of it and then we'll backtrack and talk about what worked for us. I love it.
perfect.
Great idea.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us for another episode of Read and React. Let us know what you think in the comments if you are watching on YouTube. If you are, feel free to just, hit the follow button, the subscribe button, so you can get alerts. And it also helps me know that this channel is reaching more people. And it's perhaps the best thing you can do to support the channel right now. And we will see you next time on Read and React. Bye-bye.
Bye.